Chapter 74. A loss is a loss. It's up to them whether they want to give it or not. As for that Long Outyen, who knows where he went? Qing Huaxian was fuming with anger. I'm telling you, let's just forget about this matter. Don't even think about the money. Hurry up and apologize to Long Outyen and ask your sister to work in the company. Don't idle around every day. Apologize? Dad, if you want to go, you go, I'm hanging up. Qingye immediately hung up the phone. Father really changed, he wasn't like this in the past. Qing Yutong held onto her big sister's delicate hand and consoled, Big sister, don't be afraid. Qingye let out a deep sigh and took a look at Yi Hua who was at the side. This fellow didn't even say a single word of consolation to me. Suddenly, the phone rang again. Qingye thought that it was her father who called her again, but in the end, it was actually the head of the company's finance department who called her. An excited inquiry sounded from the phone. CEO Qing, the company's account has an additional 50 billion, this? 50 billion? Whose is it? Qingye was startled, and didn't come back to her senses for a moment. 50 billion, that's cash. It's someone called Wang Debao. Qingye really didn't expect that this Wang Debao would transfer money to her the next day. This speed of returning money is really fast. Alright, I understand. CEO Qing, is this alright? The finance head was a bit nervous. This sum of money was equivalent to the price of the entire company. I'm fine. After hanging up the phone, Qingye was still a bit in disbelief. Based on Wang family's strength, they could completely disregard this matter, but I didn't expect that this Wang Debao would be so forthright, as expected of a prodigal son. Wang Debao's squandering would always bring him benefits. Even if it was this time, Wang Debao was indirectly hugging onto Yi Hua's thigh. Qingye, who returned the debt? Yi Hua asked curiously. Just now, I was still thinking about how to step on the debt to make it interesting. It's Wang Debao. Him. Not bad. Yi Hua said faintly. I have a whole new level of respect for that Wang Debao. 50 billion is not a small sum of money, and to be able to settle it in such a short period of time, he has some ability and is also a man of his words. He is not a bad human. Qing Yutong asked dumbfoundedly, Big sister, did you receive 50 billion already? Yes. Qing Yutong immediately hugged onto her big sister's thigh. Big sister, isn't Yutong very obedient? You? I have to take a look. Qingye snorted. Sis, in the future, Yutong can only rely on you and brother-in-law. I won't leave even if you beat me to death. This was an iron rice bowl, and he had to hold on to it. In the future, he wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing, and he could just eat and wait for death. How happy would that be? Yi Hua went silent for a while, then said, Qingye, give that Xiao Yi a call and tell him to return the money within 3 days. If not, he will have to bear the consequences. Yi Hua, forget it. Qingye was a bit worried. Right now, I have already returned half of the money, and this is already the best result. Logically speaking, if I were to return this 50 billion, the effect would be even better. Yi Hua just didn't like Qingye's habit of being afraid of this and that. On this point, Qing Yutong was even worse off. Yutong, come and fight. We'll only give them 3 days. Alright, I will call. Qing Yutong would not have so many misgivings. A debt owed must be paid back, a life owed must be paid back no matter what. Qing Yutong was a movie queen in the entertainment circle, and there were quite a few big figures who called her, and of course, that included Xiao family. Thinking back then, this Xiao Yi even had some thoughts towards me. He called Xiao Yi directly. And Xiao Yi was also very curious as to why this movie queen would suddenly call him. Could it be that she has thought things through and is preparing to offer herself to me? Yutong, what's the matter? Xiao Yi asked. Return the money. Xiao Yi, Yutong, when did I owe you money? You couldn't have remembered wrongly, right? 50 billion, I will give you 3 days' time. Qing Yutong didn't give Xiao Yi any face and directly went straight to the point. Speaking of the 50 billion, Xiao Yi immediately knew what was going on. Yutong, what matter can't we talk about properly? What is there to talk about with you? Quickly return the money. If you don't return the money, then just wait for me to come and trample on your debt. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong hung up the phone, then raised her eyebrows towards Yihua, seemingly saying how was her performance. Qing Ye held onto her forehead. These two people are truly not afraid of anything, to even dare to trample on Xiao family's money. Brother-in-law, when the time comes, bring me along to trample on your debt. Qing Yutong was already rubbing her palms together. Yesterday night was not enough to satisfy her craving, the other party was too weak. In actuality, the other party from yesterday night was also not weak, he was also a well-known figure in the cultivation world, just that, he met with the beautiful girl warrior, this Chinibyu girl who was poisoned by cartoons. This kind of matter is still not up to us. Yihua said gravely. If I have to personally take action for everything, then what's the use of having subordinates? Are those strong people who personally take action really strong people? Perhaps, they are just trying to get a sense of existence. Big sister, look at brother-in-law, he is starting to act cool even though he is not smoking. Qing Yutong said tenderly, she felt that what brother-in-law said was super cool. Qing Ye laughed bitterly, then said tenderly, all right Yihua, don't mind it too much, if they don't want to return the money, we can't do anything about it. Yihua did not say anything, some things do not need to be explained, there is no need to. I want to see how this Xiao Yi is going to choose, after all, the lives of his entire family are at his whim. Right now, Xiao Yi was currently sitting on the plane back to Zijin City, completely unaware of the seriousness of the matter. And Nangong Sini who was beside him didn't think much of it, thus the two of them didn't take it seriously. After eating breakfast, Yihua and his sister-in-law started playing games again. Qing Ye made some fruits and sat at the side, watching the two of them play. Feeling like she was a servant, she bought a computer and joined in as well. As expected, Gaohai City's famous cold and elegant female CEO was also led astray. If she were to give birth to a child, she would be able to eat chicken dinner. The addition of his wife undoubtedly increased the difficulty of the game for Yihua. Qing Ye was originally a woman who refused to admit defeat, and that serious appearance of hers made it seem as if she was having a meeting, and furthermore, she was even giving out orders. In a blink of an eye, she had turned into a female strategist. Yihua was still very gratified, Qing Ye still has the ability in this aspect, not bad. On the other side, Wei Chang encountered his first date in his life and was currently pondering on how to go out. After all, it was a date with Xiao Tang, and it seemed like he was also attending her classmate's birthday party. All of these are secondary, the main point is how I should go out and not throw his honor's face. I remember the idol drama that I watched last night, the male lead still had to dress up before going out, I can learn from him. Wei Chang could be seen taking out a facial mask and pasting it on his face, then turning on his computer, he began learning how a man should dress up. Moisturizer. I still have to use this. Foundation. Thrush. This is too sissy, right? I don't want to be like Lai Gu who painted his nails with nail polish. Lai Gu, fuck, that was not painted by me, it was painted by my woman. At this time, Wei Chang's phone rang. Without even thinking, he knew that it was Xiao Tang. His honor wouldn't call me, and even more so, other people wouldn't call me. The phone is just a decoration, but recently, it wasn't just a decoration anymore, because Xiao Tang would call me from time to time and ask me about it. Chapter 75. Uncle Wei, I am here to pick you up. Tang Wei's gentle voice rang out from the phone. Wei Chang felt very comfortable listening to it. Xiao Tang, you are here, come up and have a seat first. And, just that, when Tang Wei saw Wei Chang who was currently putting on a facial mask, she was stupefied. However, she was still very touched in her heart. Does Uncle Wei want to become younger, so that he would be more compatible with me? Actually, there really isn't a need to do this. Tang Wei took off her facial mask and said, Uncle Wei, you are already handsome enough. If you are any more handsome, how are other people going to live? Xiao Tang, you are very beautiful today. Wei Chang said with a smile. The current Wei Chang was very good at speaking. Recently, he had been studying some love courses in his mind, and Wei Chang concluded that there was only one simple thing, and that was to praise a girl. That way, the girl would be happy. Just look at Xiao Tang. However, it must be said that Xiao Tang was very beautiful today. Her jet black long hair was not tied into a ponytail, rather, it was draped over her shoulders. She was wearing a blue t-shirt, cropped jeans, and white sneakers, looking incomparably pure. Uncle Wei, why does your mouth seem to be smeared with honey today? Tang Wei said shyly, then pinched the corner of Wei Chang's mouth. The gluttonous monster of the 7 deadly sins was pinched by a human woman. My God, TSK, what is this? A supreme overlord was even pushed down by a human woman. As expected, like boss like subordinate, moral conduct is contagious. Towards his girlfriend pinching the corner of his mouth, Wei Chang only went into a daze for a moment, then stretched out his hand and caressed Tang Wei's head. The latter squinted her beautiful eyes, just like a kitten, she seemed to be enjoying it. Xiao Tang, wait a moment, I will go and change my clothes. Tang Wei replied obediently. Is this what love is? It feels so sweet, Uncle Wei is such a good man. Tang Wei's evaluation of Wei Chang is truly on point. Wei Chang is so good that he doesn't even blink his eyes when he kills. No, he doesn't even blink his eyes when he eats people. Just like what Lai Gu said, this is a gluttonous monster. The more he eats, the stronger he becomes. This was the first time he went out on a date with his girlfriend. Wei Chang took off his daily security uniform and wore a casual black suit. This suit could be considered as imitating his honor, just that, he bought it 3 years ago, and he had never worn it until now, because Wei Chang's life was very simple. When Wei Chang appeared in front of Tang Wei was completely dumbfounded. When Uncle Wei wore formal attire, he simply looked like no one else. His mature aura assaulted her senses, causing Tang Wei to sink into a love-struck state. Lil Tang, let's go. Wei Chang held his dumbfounded girlfriend's hand and said with a smile. Tang Wei discovered that Uncle Wei was very different today, especially his smile, it was too charming. Uncle Wei was even more handsome than the boss, and his smile was so warm. As the saying goes, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Tang Wei was currently in such a state. Uncle Wei, I'll drive. You sit. Lil Tang, let me do it. Uncle Wei, are you sure? Of course, Uncle Wei's stamina is pretty good. Tang Wei instantly blushed. Uncle Wei actually knows how to flirt. Wei Chang could be seen riding on the little yellow bicycle, and Tang Wei was seen sitting on the back of the bicycle. Tang Wei's hands were wrapped around Wei Chang's waist, and she lightly leaned on Wei Chang's back. To her, a simple bicycle was enough. She would rather sit on a bicycle and laugh than sit on a BMW and cry. With Tang Wei's looks, don't mention a BMW, she can even cry in a Bentley. Wei Chang was mature and handsome, while Tang Wei was pure and beautiful, the two of them were a perfect match. Coincidentally, the place where the birthday banquet was being held this time was the Pin 1 clubhouse. After placing the little yellow bicycle at its rightful place, the two of them walked towards the Pin 1 clubhouse. Tang Wei's hands were hugging onto Wei Chang's arm, and her beautiful face was brimming with a blissful smile. Wei, over here. From afar, Fang Qian waved her hand and shouted. Qian, Tang Wei replied happily. The reason why I brought my boyfriend out today was to tell everyone that I already have a boyfriend. Although he isn't a famous flower, he still has a boyfriend. When Fang Qian saw that Tang Wei brought Uncle Wei along, she was also startled. However, she still quickly adjusted herself and shouted, Uncle Wei. Xiao Fang is here too. Wei Chang smiled. Different from Yi Hua, Wei Chang's smile was always on his face, and it seemed to be easier for him to assimilate into humans' thoughts. Uncle Wei, you are so handsome today. Fang Qian sized up Wei Chang. In the past, Wei Chang would often wear a security uniform, but today, he is actually wearing a suit. Tang Wei was very proud. Of course my Uncle Wei is handsome. Let's go in. Tang Wei said tenderly. Qi Shuwen is coming too, Jia Jiaojie seems to have invited him too. Fang Qian shrugged. Tang Wei nodded her head, student Qi is coming too, let's wait for him then. Towards this Qi Shuwen who helped her, Tang Wei felt that he was rather good, and he was rather humorous at times. Recently, he seems to have changed quite a bit. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, a series of rumbling sounds rang out from afar, and a BMW motorcycle could be seen driving over at lightning speed, steadily stopping at the roadside. Qi Shuwen took off his helmet and said with a smile, sorry for coming late. It's fine, we just arrived not too long ago. Tang Wei said with a gentle smile. Tang Wei's smile truly warmed one's heart. Qi Shuwen smiled, then suddenly saw that Tang Wei's hand was holding onto this handsome uncle. Why does this uncle look so familiar? I remember now. He is the one who came to help Tang Wei that day. Looking at Tang Wei's intimate expression, this uncle should be her uncle. I should put on a good performance today. Hello, uncle. Qi Shuwen stretched out his hand and said with a smile. If it was Yi Hua, he would definitely not stretch out his hand. However, Wei Chang was different. After being a security captain for 5 years, he was already proficient in human communication. Hello. The two of them shook hands in a friendly manner. Uncle, you look like a 20-year-old young man, so handsome. Qi Shuwen took the opportunity to flatter Wei Chang. Tang Wei was very happy too, of course, my Uncle Wei is the best. Why does Qi Shuwen feel that something is wrong? This shouldn't be the expression that a niece should have towards her uncle. Something is wrong, Qi Shuwen did not ask much, and the four of them walked into Pinyi Clubhouse. When the few of them arrived at the lobby, Wei Chang did not have any reaction. I have seen even more powerful people before, and this is Qi Shuwen's first time coming here. When had Tang Wei and Fang Qian ever come to such a high-class place before? They were shocked by the luxurious atmosphere in front of them, and immediately felt that they were out of place. Last night, Xiao Yi booked the entire place, and it seemed that there weren't a lot of people. However, today, the place was packed with people. For some of them, it was also their first time coming to such a high-class place. Just like Tang Wei, they sized up the place curiously. Meanwhile, those men and women who were dressed in Western suits and leather shoes revealed out a deep look of disdain. They felt that the rules of this Pinyi Clubhouse should be changed, not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come here. Which room is Jia Jiaojie in? Qi Shuwen asked. Fang Qian took out her phone and took a look at her WeChat, room 10. Chapter 76. In Long'an City, Jia Jiaojie could be considered to have quite a bit of face. To be more precise, it was the Jia family. It wasn't easy for Jia Jiaojie to get this room number 10. If this matter were to be spread out, Jia Jiaojie's face would also become famous. The four of them walked through the long corridor and found room 10 at the back of the first-class clubhouse. Qi Shuwen was still a gentleman and took the initiative to open the door. Taking a look around, the size of the room was around 120 square meters. Although the decoration of the room was expensive, there was still some difference compared to the room that Yi Hua went to yesterday. At the side of the room, there was a small bedroom, and the bedroom was still very humane. The bedroom was specially prepared for those men and women who couldn't take it anymore. There were a few youngsters sitting inside, and of course, Jia Jiaojie, the main character, was included as well. Jia Jiaojie was quite pretty, but compared to Tang Wei, she was a bit lacking. Especially the arrogance between Jia Jiaojie's brows, it was really unknown who gave her that confidence. Beside Jia Jiaojie sat 3 men and a woman. They were dressed in expensive clothes, and just like Jia Jiaojie, they exuded an air of arrogance. Looking at Wei Chang appeared to be extremely natural. This is what it means to truly become one with someone. Even Yi Hua, who was a supreme overlord, wasn't able to become as natural as Wei Chang. Faintly, Wei Chang even gave off the aura of someone in a superior position. Our beauty Tang is here. Jia Jiaojie stood up with a smile, but there was a hint of evil in her eyes. The three young men who were seated looked towards Tang Wei and couldn't help but nod their heads. Tang Wei was indeed a rare beauty, her pure temperament was already very hard to find. Tang Wei politely smiled, Jia Jiaojie, happy birthday. Don't stand on ceremony. Everyone, come and have a seat. Who is this? Jia Jiaojie asked curiously. Actually, she already knew what kind of relationship this handsome uncle had with Tang Wei, and she had to thank Fang Qian for this. He is called Wei Chang, my boyfriend. Tang Wei introduced with a gentle smile. Wei Chang was also very polite. Hello, everyone. If this Wei Chang was seen by the other 6 sins, they would definitely think that Wei Chang had taken the wrong medicine. He, who fed on humans, could be so humble. The 3 young men didn't think much of it. Obviously, they already knew Wei Chang's identity. On the other hand, Qi Shuwen was stupefied. Isn't this Tang Wei's uncle? How did he become Tang Wei's boyfriend? Isn't this too ridiculous? I feel like he can already be Tang Wei's father. Oh, so you are Tang Wei's boyfriend. May I know where you are working? Jia Jiaojie picked up the red wine on the table, shook it, and asked with a teasing tone. Tang Wei frowned slightly. She didn't expect that Jia Jiaojie would still be like this. She didn't change at all. Wei Chang said disapprovingly, I'm a security guard in a bar. At this moment, a young man smiled and said, Security? Are you a security guard? Ha! This sentence caused the other 2 men and 1 woman to burst into laughter. Tang Wei's complexion was already very bad, but Wei Chang appeared to be exceptionally normal, and even maintained a smile. Qi Shuwen did not say anything and stood quietly at the side. Fang Qian quietly stood behind Qi Shuwen, as if she wanted to draw a line between them. Alright, I was just joking. Don't mind me. Jia Jiaojie's expression changed, and she began to smooth things over. The show had just begun, and she couldn't let it end so quickly. Right now, Tang Wei was extremely disgusted with Jia Jiaojie. She felt that she shouldn't have brought Uncle Wei here. Uncle Wei was probably feeling very uncomfortable right now, and it was all her fault. Uncle Wei, let's go. Wei Chang smiled and said, It's fine, if we leave just like this, we will seem very rude. Tang Wei, even your old boyfriend knows how to be polite, why don't you know how to be polite? Jia Jiaojie caressed her hair and teased. Wei Chang smiled but didn't say anything. I want to see what kind of tricks these ants can play. You. Xiao Tang, calm down. Wei Chang caressed Tang Wei's head lightly, as if he was caressing his own pet. Uncle Wei. Sit. Wei Chang said indifferently. Jia Jiaojie looked at her good friends. This was the first show, and there would be another good show later on. After sitting down, Jia Jiaojie introduced to Tang Wei, this is Long and City's Han family's young master, Han Kaijie. This is Long and City's Yu family's young master, Yu Wenguang. This is Long and City's Li family's Li Ba, and this beauty is our Long and City's Longhu Real Estate's young master, Shen Miao Miao. She is currently single, student Qi, you have to grasp this opportunity. Jia Jiaojie said with a gentle smile, seemingly wanting to curry favor with Qi Shuwen. The main reason was that Qi Shuwen had done a lot of big things during this period of time, and even some of the big shots in Long and City were praising him endlessly. The reason why she called Shen Miao Miao and Qi Shuwen over today was actually to matchmake them. Qi Shuwen laughed dryly and nodded his head politely towards Shen Miao Miao. The latter also smiled sweetly. Tang Wei, who do you fancy? Tell me, I guarantee that you will have a good life in the future. Jia Jiaojie started to make things difficult for Tang Wei again. This was completely not putting Wei Chang in her eyes. To make his girlfriend look bad in front of Wei Chang. To put it bluntly, Jia Jiaojie was just a pimp, and the three rich young masters were the clients, while Tang Wei was the mistress. Tang Wei was not someone who was easy to provoke. She slammed the table and shouted, Jia Jiaojie. What do you mean by this? Tang Wei, this uncle is really not suitable for you. Big sister is just thinking for you. You are going to graduate around this time next year, right? Where are you going to go? Are you still going to work in a bar? Look at Fang Qian, she will be able to intern at a company under the Han family soon. I am also doing this for your own good. There are 3 such big companies, you can choose from them. Tang Wei immediately looked towards Fang Qian. She did not understand why her best friend would follow them and even enter the Han family's company. She could only imagine the price. Han Kaijie's lips curled up into a smile. Although this Fang Qian was not as pretty as Tang Wei, she was still a virgin. He could still use her to play with. For a vain woman like her, if he gave her a little benefit, she would crawl and kneel down. Looking at this Tang Wei, she would probably feel better if she kneeled down. Student Tang, how about this? I will also introduce a job to this uncle. You can come to my company. Li Ba was the first to make a move. He heard from Jia Jiaojie that this Tang Wei was still an original and could be invested in. Tang Wei was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down. If not for Uncle Wei holding her down, she would have already flipped out. Tang Wei, don't be so unappreciative. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. Jia Jiaojie mocked. She actually sat on Yu Wenguang's lap. Qi Shuwen did not even want to look anymore. These rich people were really abnormal. He heard that this Jia Jiaojie was someone else's fiancé. Bang! Right at this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. A young man dressed in ordinary clothes walked in. His expression was calm, but his gaze was filled with ruthlessness. Yu Wenguang patted Jia Jiaojie's butt and said with a smile, your fiancé is here. Jia Jiaojie did not place the person in her eyes at all, he's just a piece of trash. My parents must have been blind to actually get engaged to him back then. Chapter 77. After saying that, he looked at Yu Wenguang. As for you wanting to be the one to take over, I won't stop you. After all, this woman's strength is up to standard, and it'll be easy for you to come and go. Qin Jin, do you want to die? Jia Jiaojie was instantly ignited. She threw the wine glass in her hand at Qin Jin. Qin Jin turned sideways and sneered, Jia Jiaojie, have you forgotten how you kneeled and licked my feet when my family was doing well? Recalling the past, Qin Jin felt that he must have been blind to have fallen for such a woman, and today was the day of his death. He was beaten to death in this room, and the murderer was Long Wenguang's bodyguard. As for the other people, they didn't even make a sound as they watched themselves being beaten to death. The only thing that was strange was, why were there 2 more people? That uncle and that youngster, I don't seem to have seen these 2 people in my previous life. I'm going to beat you to death today, you bastard. The flustered and exasperated Jia Jiaojie actually raised her embroidered fist. Qin Jin sneered in disdain and threw a punch with his right fist, which landed heavily on Jia Jiaojie's abdomen. The latter's eyeballs almost popped out. Qin Jin grabbed his fiancée's hair and slapped her. Both of them started working at the same time. Clap clap clap, after slapping Jia Jiaojie was still in a bad mood, and after slapping Jia Jiaojie picked Jia Jiaojie up and threw Jia Jiaojie to one side. Although this Jia Jiaojie is very vicious, but to be slapped to such a state, it is still so miserable. Qin Jin didn't even look at the unconscious Jia Jiaojie. To put it bluntly, she was just an accomplice. To be precise, they were all accomplices, including Yu Wenguang, the murderer. Back then, after he died, he went to another world and cultivated for 500 years, reaching the soul formation stage. He didn't expect to transmigrate back here. Heavens will wanted him to take revenge. He had to take back everything he lost back then, including his true love. When speaking of true love, Qin Jin took a glance at Tang Wei. His gaze contained a complicated look. Back then, he had indeed had a crush on this commoner school belle. Qin Jin sat down and knocked on the table. Everyone, let's settle the score. Long Wenguang looked back at Jia Jiaojie and said lightly, Qin Jin, kneel on the ground and kowtow 3 times. Maybe it's just the pain of losing your hand. Qin Jin exhaled and asked, where are your bodyguards? Qin Jin, kneel. Li Ba stood up and shouted. Qin Jin gave him a backhand slap. Who are you asking to kneel? How dare you hit me? Li Ba covered his face in disbelief. Qin Jin showed no mercy to these accomplices. He kicked Li Ba's kneecaps and broke his legs. Kneel down and repent. Qin Jin said faintly. Li Ba was rolling on the ground in pain, and his wails filled the whole room. Soon, he fainted from the pain. Tang Wei was obviously badly frightened. Her entire body was lying in Wei Chang's embrace. Today's situation was even more terrifying than that day. Qi Shuwen frowned. This Qin Jin used to be very popular in school, but ever since his family went bankrupt, he changed. He didn't expect him to become so violent. Feng Qian finally could not hold back the panic in her heart and broke into a run. However, how could she escape Qin Jin's gaze? Grabbing Feng Qian's arm, she raised her hand and slapped Feng Qian onto the ground. B***TCH. You stay here as well. I've already said that none of you can escape. Feng Qian covered her red and swollen face. Qin Jin, are you crazy? Feng Qian, do you think that I don't know what you have done? You act one way in front of others and another way behind others. Qin Jin said faintly. He poured himself a glass of red wine and drank it very confidently. You. After taking a sip of the red wine, Qin Jin said to Han Kaijie, this woman is very sick, be careful not to get infected. She is very good at lying. Han Kaijie's expression changed greatly as he looked towards Feng Qian. Qin Jin smiled and said, don't you all understand? This Feng Qian is Jia Jiaojie's little sister, she is used to swindle resources. Tang Wei didn't expect that Feng Qian was such a person. The good that Feng Qian treated me in the past was all fake. Her motive was to harm me. My God, I am so stupid. Han Kaijie's gaze was sinister as he stood up and walked towards Feng Qian, then asked, is what he said true? Young Master Han, don't believe him. Qian is sincere towards you. Have you forgotten the happy time last night? Young Master Han, you were also extremely happy at that time. Qin Jin laughed, young Master Han, she is terminally ill. You have to wear a condom. Young Master Han, I am not sick, he is lying to you. Feng Qian hugged onto Han Kaijie's thigh and cried out. Han Kaijie said blankly, why didn't you let me wear a condom last night? Were you trying to pass the disease to me? Young Master Han, you have misunderstood me. I was just trying to make you feel even better. Young Master Han, does it feel good to be sick? Qin Jin mocked. Han Kaijie finally couldn't take it anymore. His eyes turned red as he raised his leg and stomped onto the woman on the ground. He shouted, slut. Go and die. Mother ** king slut. 100 stomps with all his strength. How could an ordinary woman take it? Feng Qian's eyes were wide open, and blood was flowing out from the corner of her mouth. She had long been stomped to death. When Qin Jin saw this scene, he thought of himself. I seem to have also been stomped to death like this. And this Feng Qian had also stepped on me before. Today is the day when I get my retribution. Enough. She has already been stomped to death by you. Yu Wenguang shouted. Mother * king slut, do you think I'll let you off just because you're dead? I'll even step on a corpse. F***ck. F***ck. For some reason, Han Kaijie got more and more excited the more he stomped. Especially when he saw the pair of eyes that had died with everlasting regret, he felt even better than last night. At this moment, Jia Jiaojie, who had fainted, slowly opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was Fang Qian, who had died with everlasting regret. Blood was still flowing out from the corner of her mouth, and Han Kaijie was stomping on her abdomen without any regard for his life. Han Kaijie, are you crazy? Jia Jiaojie propped herself up and shouted. Han Kaijie's eyes were bloodshot as he turned to look at Jia Jiaojie. This is the woman you introduced to me, the woman who is sick. Since when was Fang Qian sick? You're the one who's sick. And you still say she's not sick. Even Qin Jin says she's sick. Han Kaijie pointed at Qin Jin, who was drinking red wine, and shouted. Jia Jiaojie slowly stood up. Han Kaijie, has your brain been eaten by a dog? How can you believe Qin Jin's words? Qin Jin took out his phone and waved it. Han Kaijie just killed a young woman with cruel means. His methods are so cruel that it makes one's hair stand on end. Han Kaijie seemed to wake up from a dream. He turned around and ran toward Qin Jin. However, he was no match for Qin Jin. He was sent flying by Qin Jin's kick and landed on Fang Qian. Fiancé, what are you standing there for? Come and sit down. Yuan Guang, what are you waiting for? Call for help. I promise I won't leave. Yuan Guang took out his phone and said to Qin Jin, all right, you've got guts. Don't even think of walking out of this door alive today. All right, let's see who can walk out of this door alive. Qin Jin chuckled. Chapter 78. I'm ashamed that I still regard you as my true love, but you're lying in someone else's arms. All women in this world are the same. Qi Shuwen didn't say anything. He had no intention of interfering. Shen Miao Miao, who was at the side, was actually very scared, but she didn't know what to do. If she knew it would be like this, she wouldn't have come today. Wei Chang hugged Tang Wei and comforted her softly. He did not have any intention of leaving. Not long after, 5 burly men walked in. Qin Jin turned around and glanced at them. Of course, he remembered the faces of these 5 people. Back then, they were the ones who trampled on him until he was on the verge of death, and these people were the ones who stepped on him from behind. And Shen Miao Miao was the one who stepped on the last one. Yuan Guang shouted in a deep voice, kill him. Yes. Boss. The 5 burly men clenched their fists and looked at Qin Jin. How could an ordinary human be a match for them? They were cultivators, and their fists were deadly. Of course Qin Jin knew this, but he was no longer the Qin Jin of the past. He was a powerful cultivator of the soul formation stage, and he could easily take their lives. Bang! 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 Other than Wei Chang, no one could see Qin Jin's movements clearly. The 5 burly men flew out and turned into 5 corpses. Qi Shuwen's expression changed greatly. This man was stronger than him. Jia Jiaojie, Yuan Guang, and Shen Miao Miao were all dumbfounded. They all knew the strength of these 5 bodyguards. They hadn't been defeated yet, but they didn't expect to be instantly killed by this trash. Qin Jin suddenly stood up and shouted, forgive me for being blunt, but I'm not targeting anyone. Everyone here is trash. Wei Chang frowned slightly. Was he calling him trash? Isn't this indirectly scolding his honor as trash? How could that be? There was only one outcome for insulting his honor, and that was death. How should he die? Let me think about it. Jia Jiaojie was a smart woman. She instantly knelt on the ground and shouted, Qin Jin, I was wrong in the past. Let's make up. I'll still treat you like before. Kneel down and lick my boots. Qin Jin teased. Jia Jiaojie was taken aback for a moment, then she smiled and said, N. My shoes are a little dirty, help me out, Qin Jin said with a smile. Jia Jiaojie looked at the small black stain and stuck out her tongue while suppressing her disgust. Bang! Jia Jiaojie's delicate body flew out once again, slamming heavily into the wall. Her beautiful eyes were wide open, and her limbs were trembling. It was obvious that her spine had been broken, and she gradually stopped breathing. *tch, you don't deserve to lick my shoes. Qin Jin patted his white sneakers and said coldly. Yuan Guang revealed a look of fear. He had actually killed his fiancée. Savage to the extreme. Qin Jin knocked on the table and lightly said, someone should be coming at this time. Sure enough, as soon as Qin Jin finished speaking, two people walked in, one old and one young. The man was very elegant. The old man was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and seemed to be an expert. The two of them walked in and glanced at each other. They didn't show any signs of shock. Qin Jin stood up. Master Bai. You know me? Bai Qi asked curiously. Of course. Qin Jin smiled. Back then, these two people had stood by and watched as he was beaten to death. The old man on the side lowered his head and said, Young Master Bai, this man is extraordinary. I suggest we take a look first. Bai Qi frowned slightly, but he still believed in the old man's decision. He smiled faintly and said, Have fun, everyone. With that, he left the room. Qin Jin laughed softly. Wasn't it the same back then? It was just that he had the upper hand this time. Young Master Bai, take me out. Yuan Guang shouted frantically. Unfortunately, the door was already closed and he couldn't open it no matter how hard he tried. Yuan Guang, stop shouting. No one will answer you even if you scream yourself hoarse, Qin Jin said calmly. Yuan Guang shouted in a low voice, Qin Jin. How dare you kill me? My father will definitely not let you off. Your family has so many brothers. If you die, they won't even be able to clap their hands in time. You. But I can give you a chance to live. Qin Jin said mockingly. What? Only one of you and Han Kaijie can live. While he's still unconscious, you better make your move quickly. He's bigger than you. Otherwise, you might be the one to die later. Yuan Guang looked at the unconscious Han Kaijie with a complicated gaze. Unexpectedly, Han Kaijie, who was lying on Fang Qian, moved slightly. This gave Yuan Guang a fright. This Han Kaijie learned mixed martial arts for no reason. He reckoned that he would end up like Fang Qian, trampled to death later. He could only make the first move. I'm sorry. Yuan Guang could be seen picking up the red wine bottle on the table, walking to Han Kaijie's side. Taking a deep breath, he fiercely smashed the bottle down. Bang! The expensive red wine smashed onto the back of Han Kaijie's head. The red wine dyed Han Kaijie and the dead Fang Qian red, making the scene look extremely terrifying. Yuan Guang thought that this would be enough. Who knew that Han Kaijie's finger was still moving slightly? He raised the sharp shard and directly stabbed it into the back of Han Kaijie's head. The red wine and blood mixed together. It seemed like Han Kaijie and Fang Qian had already fused into one. Tang Wei had already fainted. She had never seen such a cruel scene in her life. Shen Miao really wanted to faint, but she was unable to do so. Qi Shuwen wrinkled his brows. With my strength, I am completely not Qin Jin's opponent. I have to think of a way to escape. Qin Jin, I still have something to do, can I? Qi Shuwen asked. Qin Jin thought for a while. He didn't have any thoughts towards this person who suddenly appeared, he was just curious as to why he came. Furthermore, he was only looking for those people who killed him. Of course you can leave. Qin Jin said faintly. Qi Shuwen immediately let out a sigh of relief. Taking a look at Tang Wei, Qi Shuwen shook his head. I can't even protect myself, I won't be able to save her. Shen Miao immediately turned to him for help, as if begging him to take her out. Qin Jin smiled, don't make me change my mind. Qi Shuwen was shocked and immediately left. This person was so terrifying, and he had to continue devouring to ensure his own safety. Other than Tang Wei who had fainted, there were still 4 people alive at the scene. The rest were all dead. The thick smell of blood was so strong that even the air conditioner was unable to blow it away. Oh right, there was also Li Ba who had fainted. Wei Chang liked this taste very much, as if he had returned to the past. He admired this man's vicious methods, but it was a pity that he said the wrong thing. Qin Jin, I don't know you. Can I leave? Shen Miao tried her best to remain calm, but her voice was still trembling. Are you sure we don't know each other? Asked Qin Jin lightly. Really? This is the first time I met you. Qin Jin laughed. It was indeed the first time he met Shen Miao, but the scene back then was still lingering in his mind. Those rich people played with my dignity, and even stepped on my dead body. And this Shen Miao, under their jeering, also stepped on me. Even now, Qin Jin could still remember the expression that Shen Miao had when she finished stepping on me. She was nervous and excited. Qin Jin let out a breath. It's still the same old rules, only one of you can live. Chapter 79. Yuan Guang's eyes were bloodshot, and Han Kaijie's blood was still on his face. With a crazed look on his face, Yuan Guang walked towards Shen Miao. The latter was very afraid, but she knew that it was useless to be afraid. She could only give it her all. Shen Miao lifted her leg and kicked at Yuan Guang's crotch. The fork in her right hand quickly stabbed at Yuan Guang's neck. Yuan Guang's aorta was instantly punctured. When Shen Miao pulled out the fork, blood gushed out like a fountain. Yuan Guang clutched his neck in disbelief. He reached out to grab Shen Miao, but it was to no avail. He had underestimated women. When a person was on the brink of death, they would do something unimaginable. Even a weak woman could turn into a god of death. Shen Miao, I didn't expect that. Qin Jin was very surprised and applauded. Shen Miao took a deep breath and put down the bloody fork. Can I go now? There's another unconscious one here. Qin Jin stepped on Li Ba's back. Shen Miao's breathing quickened. She picked up the fork again, glanced at Qin Jin, and used the same method to stab Li Ba's aorta. This should be enough, right? Shen Miao actually wanted to cry, but she knew that this man was very cruel, so she couldn't cry. Even if she wanted to cry, she had to step out of this door. Of course. Qin Jin smiled gently. Shen Miao breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't want to come to this Pin 1 club anymore. They didn't even care about such a thing. Opening the door, Shen Miao took a deep breath of the outside air and felt alive again. Instantly, Shen Miao widened her eyes and turned to look at Qin Jin in disbelief. Sorry, I lied to you again. Qin Jin broke Shen Miao's heart meridian with one palm. This was probably the most painless way to die. Throwing the corpse aside, Qin Jin closed the door again. Those who were related to his death were all dead. That's right. As for that young Master Bai and the old man, I'll let them live for a while and solve the matter in front of me first. Wei Chang really liked this kind of scene, but in Qin Jin's eyes, he was completely like an old uncle who was scared silly, but the woman he was hugging was his. This was absolutely unforgivable. She's mine. Qin Jin said in a low voice. Wei Chang hugged the unconscious Tang Wei, caressed her soft hair and said with a light smile, she belongs to me now. Hee, when you become like them, she will belong to me. Human, who gave you such confidence? Sometimes, Wei Chang admired the mysterious confidence of humans. Did they really think that they were very powerful after killing these ants? Qin Jin suddenly let out a burst of wild laughter. Confidence? Because my name is Qin Jin. My return will set off a storm, and the world will tremble for me. My enemies are only fit to hide in a corner and tremble. My women will enjoy my body, and you will become a corpse just like them. You said my line. Wei Chang was very angry. I have never seen such an arrogant human before. Thinking back to back then, his honor and I were completely annihilated by the humans and revived to this point. Back then, we were completely capable of killing our way back to the humans and turning the world upside down. However, he didn't. He didn't try to conquer this ant-like human because of his strength. He didn't say such words to anyone because it was really low, and it would lower his own level. Furthermore, even though he kept on saying that he wanted to take revenge, he was completely unable to reach his honor's mental state. He was destined to not be able to become a strong martial artist. What? Lines? Uncle, have you gone stupid from fear? Wei Chang laughed lightly, then slowly stretched out his hand. With his palm facing upwards, his hand formed into a claw shape. Human, actually, you acted cool enough today, but the mistake is, you actually acted cool in front of me. You. Qin Jin sensed a dangerous aura. He wanted to retaliate, but his entire body was unable to move. Immediately, he looked at Wei Chang with a horrified gaze. A black whirlpool condensed in the center of Wei Chang's palm, seemingly like it was sucking something. Meanwhile, Qin Jin seemed like something was about to leave his body. Wei Chang kept his smile, and with a very serious expression, he declared, "You actually dared to insult the great His Honor as trash, that has decided your fate from now on. Killing people isn't your fault, the fault lies in your mouth. Even if you act cool, there must be a limit. If you don't act cool properly, you will become an idiot, and you will regret your failure to act cool in the endless darkness." Stopping speaking, Wei Chang clenched his 5 fingers. Qin Jin's primordial spirit could be seen being forcefully pulled out by Wei Chang. This is what is truly terrifying. Qin Jin's physical body became sluggish, and his primordial spirit was frantically shouting, "Who exactly are you? Why are you imprisoning my primordial spirit? I am one of the 7 deadly sins under the Supreme Overlord's command, gluttony. You can call me Wei Chang. As for why I imprisoned your primordial spirit, of course it is to refine it. Xiao Tang's body is weak, so your primordial spirit can be treated as a small snack for her to eat." No. 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 I am Qin Jin. I am a man who has returned from cultivation, I am a man who will make the world tremble. Qin Jin shouted frantically, unwilling to believe the truth in front of his eyes, but it was so real. "I know I was wrong, I don't want this woman anymore. As long as you don't refine my primordial spirit, I will do anything you want me to. I will lick your shoes for you, okay?" Qin Jin knew the consequences of refining his primordial spirit. He would disappear forever, and all of his efforts would be wasted. Why didn't I just take revenge? Why? If I leave, I won't be like this anymore. Why didn't I leave? Why am I still being greedy for a beauty? Master is right, beauty is poison. Wei Chang laughed, "Lick my shoes for me. Do you know how to lick coins?" "Ah. Seems like you don't." The black fog on Wei Chang's hand immediately became denser. "How is that black fog? It is clearly underworld fire." "No. No. I can learn it, spare me. I don't want to die. I am the master." The begging voice disappeared within the underworld fire, and in just a minute, the primordial spirit was refined by the underworld fire. A black pearl could be seen floating on Wei Chang's palm, and after swallowing it, Tang Wei would obtain Qin Jin's cultivation. Following Wei Chang's wave of his hand, Tang Wei, who was in a coma, swallowed the black pearl. Wei Chang carried Tang Wei, looked at the soulless Qin Jin and the corpses on the ground, then took out his phone. "Hello, is this Yao Ling? A murder happened in the Pinyi clubhouse." After hanging up the phone, Wei Chang let out a breath. As a legal citizen, seeing this kind of thing happening, I definitely can't just stand by and watch. I have to immediately call Yao Ling for help. Carrying Tang Wei, Wei Chang left the Pinyi clubhouse. Inside the Pinyi clubhouse's boss office, Bai Qi's brows were tightly wrinkled as he looked at the surveillance camera. Young Master Bai, from the looks of it, this person seemed to have absorbed something. Bai Qi did not speak, and after pondering for a while, he said, "My big sister, what did brother-in-law say?" Young Miss said to not do anything for the time being, and to wait and see. Chapter 80. Last night, Miss ordered this lowly one to investigate overnight. This man is called Wei Chang, he is the security captain of Leisure Bar. The woman in his embrace is just a waitress in Leisure Bar, and the boss of Leisure Bar is called Yi Hua, he is the man who won 50 billion from young master's brother-in-law last night. The first time they appeared was 5 years ago. At that time, they had come into contact with Fifth Master, and after that, they started to operate a leisure bar. Everything was uneventful until Qing family's Qing Ya appeared last month. Bai Qi asked confusedly, Qing Ya? What do you mean? The investigation is still continuing, and the preliminary result is that the two of them had a relationship, and these few days, Qing Ya directly stayed at Leisure Bar, and of course, there was also his little sister, Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong? Are you talking about that movie queen? Bai Qi asked curiously. Yes. It seemed like Bai Qi was also interested in the famous Qing Yutong. After all, he was only a young man, how could he resist the temptation of Qing Yutong? Is there any other news? What faction is behind them? Bai Qi asked. Actually, saying so much wasn't of much use. I haven't found out yet, but right now, Leisure Bar's boss Yi Hua and Jiu Ye's relationship isn't bad. Bai Qi touched his forehead as he looked at the surveillance camera from last night. Jiu Yi is indeed a character, the spokesperson of a crafty old fox. Don't look at how he is only holed up in a small Long-an city, his hands are already all over the country. The old man chuckled. No matter how powerful the ninth master is, he can't compare to the eldest Mississippi, of course. Who is my sister? She's a woman known as the Beauty of the North. Although my brother-in-law is a bit sloppy, he's still a good match for my sister, unlike other men who have multiple wives, Bai Qi muttered. The old man chuckled and didn't say anything. But my brother-in-law doesn't have the guts to look for other women, Bai Qi added. You're right, young master. The old man smiled. Bai Qi patted his pants and said, Old He, let's go to Zijin City. I still want to ask my sister in person. All right, I'll arrange the plane right away. Bai Qi, who was about to leave, suddenly paused and turned his head to ask, Old He, do you think the Shao family will return the money? I'm not sure about Shao Yi, but the woman beside him will definitely not return it. Then do you think the boss of this bar will step on the accounts? I really don't know. Old Qi, you really know how to joke around. Let's go to Zijin City and wait and see. I feel like there's going to be a good show to watch. I've long been sick of this Shao Yi. Back then, he even chased after my sister. Both of them have wives and he acts pretentiously all day long. Everyone in the circle calls him the pretentious King Shao. Bai Qi said with disdain. The old man followed behind silently, listening to the young master's complaints. I really hope that the owner of the bar can step on this act tough king and let him know that there is always someone better out there. Young master, Shao Yi's strength isn't ordinary. He's on par with the leaders of the other families. If we didn't surround him, it would be very difficult to make him lose face. Bai Qi sighed. How could he not know this? Otherwise, his sister would have long overturned the Shao clan's doors. On the other side, Wei Chang carried the unconscious Tang Wei and arrived at a coffee shop, attracting a lot of people's attention. There were even some boys who were prepared to play the hero and save the beauty, and from there, they would be able to win the beauty. Wei Chang ordered a cup of iced coffee and quietly waited for Tang Wei to wake up. Back then, he heard that Lai Gu had killed 3 prehistoric beasts, and he even secretly took the meat of a golden delicate crane. In the future, I will ask Lai Gu to help me steal a piece of meat as well. Uncle Wei, Tang Wei could be seen slightly opening her beautiful eyes, but in that instant, Tang Wei's pupils were completely black, just like a deep whirlpool. But it was only for an instant. When Wei Chang saw it, he felt that it was not bad, right? You woke up. Uncle Wei, aren't we attending a banquet? Why are we here? Tang Wei rubbed her forehead, seemingly having already forgotten about what happened just now, selectively forgetting about it. Wei Chang said with a smile, "Oh, you are drunk, so I brought you out first." "Is that so? I won't make a fool of myself, right?" Wei Chang lightly stroked Tang Wei's chin. "Why would I?" Tang Wei was very embarrassed. Uncle Wei sure knows how to seduce people. The shy Tang Wei lowered her head and tidied up her hair, not daring to look Wei Chang in the eye. Just that, her legs that were trembling due to nervousness had already caused cracks to appear on the ground, and the cracks were still continuously expanding. Leisure bar, second floor, Qin Yutong's chamber. Yi Hua, give me the AWM. Yutong, give me the M249. Qin Yutong had a look of dislike on her face. Who is she? Yi Hua, I don't know her. Qin Ye snorted. Quickly give it to me, you two bastards, snatching my equipment. I didn't even come across a single airdrop that had the equipment. Yi Hua said faintly. Who asked your hand speed to be slow? Qin Yutong went into a daze, then rubbed onto Yi Hua's shoulder. Brother-in-law, your hand speed is not bad. How did you train your big sister? Yi Hua took a glance at Qin Ye. Qin Yutong's beautiful eyes opened wide. Your taste is too heavy, too perverted. I want to get off the car, Qin Ye shouted out gravely. Yi Hua, don't lead the little girl astray. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly raised, then patted onto his sister-in-law's head. Little girl, listen to big sister properly. I will listen to brother-in-law. Qin Yutong placed both of her hands on her chin, opened her beautiful eyes, pouted her small mouth, and acted very cute. Qin Ye completely couldn't stand it anymore, raised her hand and slapped. Big sister, what are you doing? Qin Yutong rubbed onto her head, feeling very wronged, seemingly wanting her brother-in-law to make the decision. Yi Hua shook his head. Qin Ye, Yutong is already stupid enough, don't hit her anymore. Brother-in-law, you. Qin Ye silently nodded her head. That is indeed the case. You all collude with each other to bully a lonely little sister. My dear little nephew, when are you going to come out? At least we can have a companion. Yi Hua, Qin Ye, right when the three of them were randomly showing off, a hand grenade appeared out of nowhere and entered through the window. However, before the hand grenade landed on the ground, it exploded. Yi Hua brought along his wife and sister-in-law and died, and there was also a water buddy who was hiding at the corner of the wall. Yi Hua, it's all your fault. Brother-in-law, it's all your fault. Yi Hua put down his mouse and said faintly, what are we eating for lunch? Yi Hua, you changed the topic again. Brother-in-law, how can you be like this? How about eating Sichuan cuisine? Or Hunan cuisine? Actually, I still want to eat grilled chicken wings. Qin Ye stood up and stretched her waist. That perfect curve of hers immediately made people unable to take their eyes off her. Yi Hua expressed that he was already used to it, and Qin Yutong expressed that her curve was even better. Let's order takeout, I don't want to go out, it's hot outside. Qin Ye casually picked up her phone and prepared to order on Meituan. Qin Yutong was rather surprised. Big sister, you weren't like this in the past. Could it be that you became lazy after getting pregnant? Chapter 81. Yi Hua said faintly, what does it have to do with me? Qin Ye was too lazy to argue with Yi Hua and asked, what do you guys want to eat? Lanzhou fried rice, add an egg. Yi Hua said faintly. It has been a long time since I ate Lanzhou fried rice. Qin Ye let out a sigh of relief. Luckily I didn't order crayfish. Let's eat crayfish tonight. Yi Hua added. Qin Ye's face immediately darkened. Qin Yutong thought for a while. Big sister, help me order a McFlurry, I want strawberry flavored, and also 2 pairs of chicken wings. You don't want to control your weight anymore? Qin Ye sized up Qin Yutong and asked. Qin Yutong stood up and turned around. Do I still need to control my figure, brother-in-law? Not bad. Yi Hua had to give his sister-in-law a thumbs up. Other than the slight flaw in her personality, she is still very perfect. Not bad my ass, Yi Hua, where are your eyeballs looking at? Oh, looking at sister-in-law. Yihua said faintly. Brother-in-law, don't be like this. Big sister is still here, then wait until she is not here. Qingye knew that the two of them were teasing her, but she was still angry. Alright, I will make space for you guys then. Just like this, the daily quarrel started again. Yihua shook his head helplessly. Qingye's mental state still needs to be trained. If she gets angry just like this, if she gets provoked by the enemy a few times, wouldn't she fly into the sky? Big sister has such a bad temper. Even Qing Yutong sighed. Seeing that her brother-in-law did not have the intention to chase after them, Qing Yutong asked in a low voice, Brother-in-law, why don't you chase after them? I can only look at you after your big sister left. While brother-in-law is so perverted, he likes sister-in-law authentic beautiful legs. Do you want to know? Qing Yutong could be seen revealing her snow-white long legs. She silently thought, if brother-in-law can quickly touch them, then I will be able to get a quest point. You are also very perverted. Yihua took a look at the long legs and said. Qing Yutong, half an hour later, the food delivery arrived. It was a pity that Qingye was still angry and did not come over to eat. Yihua had no choice but to go and coax her. It is fine if the adult is hungry, but I don't want my child to be hungry. Pushing open the bedroom door, Yihua discovered that Qingye was sitting on the bed, revealing her miserable back view, looking just like a resentful wife. Qingye, come over and eat. Yihua shouted out. In actuality, this action of his was already giving the other party a lot of face. When had Yihua ever called others out for a meal? He only knows how to send people to hell. What are you calling me for? Aren't you having fun with your sister-in-law? I don't dare to disturb master's mood. Qingye was very jealous. Yihua pulled Qingye up and said faintly, all right, don't make me angry. You. Qingye snorted. If it wasn't for the fact that you won 50 billion, if you don't beg me a few times today, I wouldn't have let you off so easily. Qing Yutong looked at her brother-in-law who was pulling her big sister into the room, and clicked her tongue. Big sister, can't you be a little more reserved? At the very least, you should at least be able to last for 2 minutes, right? Every time brother-in-law makes a move, you would always surrender in less than a minute. As a woman, I have to look down on you. Eat your food, don't talk so much. Qingye's beautiful eyes widened. Isn't it because he is too strong, I am unable to resist him? Ha, ha, ha. Right, just now, the company gave me a call. Tomorrow, you should make a trip to Gaohai City to take some publicity photos. Qingye said while holding onto her rice bowl. Hearing that, Qing Yutong became worried. Tomorrow? Brother-in-law, come with me. Not free, I have to bring your big sister out for a walk tomorrow. Alright you guys. You guys are just purposely making me go away, so that you can enjoy your world with just the two of you, right? I have seen through you guys. Qing Yutong got angry, crossed her arms around her chest, and raised her chin up high. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yihua. When did I agree to go out with you? Since you want to be a streamer, then go and do it properly. Don't drop the ball, if not, you can go back and be your movie empress. Qingye said. Qing Yutong turned her head and looked outside the window. Her small mouth was so big that an oil bottle could be hung on it. With a bad temper, I won't be coming back. Let's see if you guys are anxious or not after eating. Everyone was not in a hurry to play games. Qingye had the habit of taking afternoon naps, and Yihua had to cultivate his human nature. Qing Yutong, his sister-in-law, joined in as well. The two of them sat in the office and looked happy. Qing Yutong would occasionally laugh, and Yihua wished that he could sew his sister-in-law's mouth shut. Is it that funny? Qingye directly overslept. If not for her phone ringing, she would have probably slept till night time. CEO Qing. The phone call was from Lu Hang. Qingye propped up her body and leaned against the headboard of the bed. Her lazy charm made people's hearts itch, and they wished that they could press Qingye under their body and enjoy to their heart's content. What's the matter? Lu Hang said gravely, the matter is like this, Longhu Real Estate is also considered as a business partner. Their boss's daughter was killed by someone today. Shouldn't we express our gratitude? Boss's daughter? What's the situation? Qingye wore her slippers and stood beside the window and looked at the sunset. Lu Heng swallowed his saliva. I am not very clear about the specifics. Just now, it was also a subordinate who reported it to me, and I only watched the television. Alright, I got it. Qingye hung up the phone. If I am not in Long City, it would be fine, but now that I am here, I still have to go over to take a look. Opening the door and walking out of the bedroom, Qingye arrived at Yihua's office. Upon opening the door, she heard a voice that would make one's head ache. I will still come back. They actually looked happy for the entire afternoon. Qingye wished that she could kick these two people awake. Just how old are they already? Big sister, quickly come, it is going to start again soon. Qingye picked up the remote control and changed to Long City's channel. As expected, it was reporting about this matter. Audience in front of the TV, the place where I am at right now is the crime scene. Everyone can still clearly see the bloodstains on the ground. It can be seen how terrifying it was at that time. The murderer is even more shocking. This person is called Qin Jin. He is the successor of Qin Group, and among the people who died at the scene, there is even his fiancée. According to my understanding, after Qin Group went bankrupt, Qin Jin had been very quiet. I believe that the murder this time was meticulously planned by Qin Jin, and the method was even more inhumane. The deceased are all the children of Long City's famous rich merchants. It can be seen how big his heart for vengeance is. The following scene is a bit too extreme. If there are children present at the scene, please move away. The scene changed. A man could be seen ferociously stepping on a woman. Although the scene was blurred out, the begging voice that came out from the television was shocking, especially that begging voice that gradually became softer, until it was completely gone. But that man was still stepping on the woman continuously, causing people's scalp to go numb. Chapter 82. Yihua did not have any reaction. Isn't it just a few people dying? People die in this world every day. What is there to be surprised about? Qingye was obviously not used to it. She picked up the remote control and changed the channel, then called Lu Heng again. Is the one who died Shin Tao's daughter or Shin Shuai's daughter? It's Shin Tao's daughter, Shin Miao Miao. So pitiful. Qingye sighed. After hanging up the phone, Qingye slowly sat beside Yihua and suddenly hugged onto Yihua's arm. This person died just like that. This is really sudden. Big sister, what happened? Is your friend inside as well? Qing Yutong asked concernedly. The daughter of a business partner is inside. Qingye let out a sigh of relief. In the future, I have to properly discipline my own child. That is really too unfortunate. Qing Yutong said regretfully. Yihua patted onto Qingye's head. What is there to be sad about? Is your heart made of stone? Can't you even sigh for a bit? Qingye poked onto Yihua's heart and said coquettishly. Yihua said disapprovingly, everyone is destined to die, it is just that it was brought forward. According to the legends, people reincarnated in advance. Nonsense. Alright, I ordered the crayfish. Yihua said faintly. Qingye rubbed onto her stomach. I am not hungry. You can just peel it. Yihua. I am your wife, not your servant. Qing Yutong sighed. Big sister, don't quarrel with brother-in-law, you won't be able to hold on for more than a minute anyway, why bother? Yutong does have some opinions. Qingye, give up struggling. The two of you can. I will remember it. Qingye said angrily, but there was nothing she could do. I can't win against him, and acting coquettishly isn't my style. I am so depressed. I actually found this kind of husband. How many couples did I break up in my previous life in exchange for this kind of retribution? When the fried crayfish arrived, the stubborn Qingye still obediently helped Yihua peel it, just that the bitter taste filled the entire room, as if she was kidnapped by Yihua. And Yi Hua was also very particular. He once again mixed a cup of dragon blood wine for his wife and sister-in-law. Qing Ye's face immediately turned bright. Yi Hua thought silently, TikTok really doesn't lie, this woman will be fine after being coaxed a bit. Qing Yutong was even more careful when she drank the wine. Last time, she drank the wine in a single gulp, and today, she had to drink it slowly, bit by bit. Qing Ye, let me tell you something. Yi Hua suddenly said while eating the prawn meat that Qing Ye peeled. Qing Ye put down the bar, then lightly licked her cherry lips with her fragrant tongue, looking exceptionally cute, and Qing Yutong immediately cast a glance at Yi Hua. Seeing brother-in-law's serious look, it seems like he has already started to discipline his wife. Big sister is so miserable, luckily I am not brother-in-law's concubine, I almost scared myself to death. As a boss, I don't have to do everything personally. Yi Hua was indeed preparing to start training the boss. In this aspect, I have to properly teach him. Qing Ye snorted coldly, if I don't do it, who is going to do it? Are you going to do it? If this subordinate isn't used to do things, then what's the use of having him? As the boss of the group, all you have to do is to issue orders. Doing everything yourself is bullsh*t. It's just like the emperor in the past, who only cared about sitting on the throne and controlling the situation. Qing Yutong nodded her head, what brother-in-law said makes sense. Shut up. Qing Ye glared at her little sister. Just whose side are you standing on? Look, even Yutong knows about it, yet you, as the big sister, still don't know about it. Yi Hua placed his chopsticks straight, slightly leaned on the chair and drank the dragon blood wine. Qing Ye pursed her lips, and for the first time, she didn't refute. After a while, she said, after saying so much, you just want me to not go and mourn, right? Of course, think about it, there are so many levels of difference between the two of you, even if you want to go, it would be that driver from that day. Yi Hua said. Qing Ye pouted her mouth and muttered, inhumane, what did you say? Yi Hua asked gravely. Qing Ye's heart trembled, she felt that Yi Hua's tone just now was very heavy. Is there a need for that? I am just going to comfort my partner, there is no other meaning. However, to Yi Hua, there is a huge disparity in status between the two of them. A mere human, why is there a need for me to let my wife go? Brother-in-law, come, your sister-in-law will peel the prawns for you, calm down, be obedient. Yi Hua fiercely glared at his sister-in-law, and the latter stuck out her tongue. Qing Ye, you just have to remember one point, you are the boss, you are the sky. Yi Hua added a sentence, and completed the lesson of disciplining his wife. Big sister, did you hear that? If you are the sky, then brother-in-law is the ground. Qing Ye stretched out her hand unhappily and slapped onto her sister-in-law, and the latter rubbed onto her head pitifully. That's right. I admit that what you said is right, but do you know about respecting the old and loving the young? Do you know about China's tradition? What's wrong with abandoning one's position? A partner's daughter passed away, what's wrong with going and mourning for her? Qing Ye questioned and immediately started disciplining her husband. Yi Hua didn't say anything. According to China's tradition, it is indeed necessary to do so. Seeing that Yi Hua didn't say anything, Qing Ye snorted. You have your reasons, I also have my reasons. What's wrong with the boss? Can't the boss care about the subordinate? The human heart is made of flesh, not made of iron. If you treat others well, others will treat you well. Just like you, when have you ever treated me well before? Touch your own conscience and say, have you ever cared about me before? And what about me? In the morning, when I went to buy breakfast for you, I still had to be scolded by you, and I even had to peel crayfish for you. Did I ever say that my fingers were hurting from the spiciness? I have always been patient and tolerant, I also have a temper. Don't think that I am afraid of you, when I get angry, even I am afraid of myself. Yi Hua was a little startled, and Qing Yutong was also shocked by her big sister's imposing manner. She is truly a heroine among women, I have to give her a thumbs up and praise her. The more Qing Ye spoke, the angrier she got, and she began to complain about the grievances she suffered these few days. Also, you only know how to watch cartoons every day, and now that you are addicted to playing games, you still don't go out and look for a job. That's right. I can support you for your entire life, but you also need to have a bit of ambition. If the child sees that his father only knows how to watch cartoons and play games, how disappointed would he be? Also, don't think that just because I treat you well, you can bully me as you wish. Chinya, also have my dignity, please respect me. After finished speaking, Chinya swallowed her saliva. Looking at that stupefied look on Yihua's face, I wonder if he is going to get angry again. After a long time, Yihua said to Qing Yutong, Yutong, how about ordering another 5 pounds of sugar? Qing Yutong didn't know how to reply and chose to remain silent. Qingya was angered to the point that she was biting her lips. Not only did this person not talk back, but he is actually punishing me in disguise, shameless to the extreme. I was wrong. Qingya lowered her head and admitted defeat. Even she herself didn't know why she had to be like this. If it was in the past, she would feel that she had lost a lot of face, but right now, she didn't feel like this. The corner of Yihua's mouth slightly rose. You are not wrong, I will accompany you tonight. A dignified supreme overlord being scolded by his wife, and he still can't refute, this is truly embarrassing. This matter has to be kept a secret, and all the people who know about it have to be silenced. Chapter 83. The one who was the most shocked was definitely Chinya. Right now, I can still be considered to have understood this man. As long as you go against him even a little bit, he would not let you off. I didn't expect that he would actually change today. He even took the initiative to say that he would accompany me. Is he expressing his goodwill to me? At least he has a bit of conscience. He knows how to curry favor with his wife. Yihua only felt that what Chinya said was reasonable. If one wants to understand human nature, then one has to get along. Cartoons are only one side of things. Yihua actually wanted to learn a bit from Chinya. The current situation immediately became clear. Yihua taught Chinya dark thoughts, while Chinya taught Yihua how to be a person. This is a bit interesting. After the meal, Chinya asked her little sister, do you want to go out for a walk? Forget it, in case someone says that I am a third wheel. Moreover, I am still alive. It hasn't expired yet. Qing Yutong snorted, indicating that she was also famous. She might as well just stay at home and play games. Yihua had already changed his clothes and said faintly, let's go. I will go and change my clothes then. Let's do this. Yihua pulled Qingya and left. Hey, I don't look good like this, right? Qingya shouted anxiously. She did not even tie up her hair and was still wearing a loose t-shirt. The main point was that it was so long that it could be worn as a skirt. If one did not know, they would have thought that she was not wearing pants. I feel good, I look like a primary school student. You. Qingya knew, this fellow just wants to make a fool of me. I will go and get the car key then. Yihua still didn't know what Qingya was thinking about. This long and city isn't big, but it isn't small either, we can just walk. Moreover, you need to walk more right now. But I am wearing slippers. Carry you. In an instant, Qingya was speechless and punched Yihua. However, this action was just like a girlfriend acting coquettishly, and it was seen by all the employees on the first floor. I can't help but admire the boss. At the start, this beauty was cold, but in just a few days, she broke the ice, and even punched your chest with her small fists. Qingya was startled and immediately changed her mode. I cannot let my persona collapse. Yihua shook his head. This woman likes to be like this. In actuality, her inner heart is very fragile, and she uses cold arrogance to disguise her inner weakness. When the two of them walked out of leisure bar, they just so happened to see Wei Chang and Tang Wei walking over while holding hands. This stunned Wei Chang, while Qingya was sizing them up curiously. Boss! Boss! Wei Chang and Tang Wei shouted out. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows and asked, you too? Boss, Lil Tang is my girlfriend now. Wei Chang was a little nervous. However, when he thought about Lai Gu, there are already 3 of them, and I am only one. Will Lai Gu stop me? Of course, Yi Hua wouldn't stop Wei Chang, he was just too curious. Wei Chang had been following me for a few hundred years, and I have never seen him get close to a woman before. Compared to women, Wei Chang prefers to eat women. Today, when I saw Wei Chang today, my 3 views on the world, the 3 views. Yi Hua nodded his head, not bad. Wei Chang heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for your praise, boss. Thank you, boss. Tang Wei also thanked him. Although she did not understand why, she felt that this was the right thing to do. Go get busy. Yes. Qingye took a puzzled look at Yi Hua, then followed after Yi Hua. Upon seeing that Yi Hua's brows were tightly wrinkled, Qingye asked, "What's with that expression of yours? Are you unhappy that they are together?" "No, I'm just curious, that's all." Yi Hua said lightly. "What's there to be curious about? It's just that their age is a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all." Qingye was rather open-minded and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter. Speaking of age, we are also a few hundred years apart. Yi Hua didn't discuss Wei Chang's matters with Qingye in depth, and while holding on to Qingye's tender and delicate hands, he asked, "Is it really that painful?" "Humph, what do you think?" Although Qingye was venting out her dissatisfaction, her heart felt sweet. "You will get used to it." Yi Hua. "If I continue to peel crayfish for you, I will change my surname to yours." Just now, she thought that Yi Hua had changed, but in the end, he was still the same, causing her to explode from anger. Meanwhile, Yi Hua hugged onto his wife's waist and said faintly, "You said that I don't care about you? Did I say something wrong? Some care can't be seen, can't be touched, one has to use one's heart to feel it, it's just that you are unable to experience it." Yi Hua said lightly. "This stupid woman only looks at the surface, I really don't know how she managed to become a big company." "TSK, you are starting to talk nonsense again." Qingye was clearly lacking in confidence. Thinking back to the past few days, Yi Hua did care about me a little. In any case, compared to the past few days, Yi Hua was much better. Walking out of the alley and onto the main street, the 2 of them were destined to be the center of attention, especially the way Qingye was dressed. It was too girlish, and she was even wearing a pair of cute slippers. If she were to tie her hair into 2 ponytails, she would almost look like a loli. Qingye was very embarrassed. It was the first time that I dressed like this, and I looked like I was pretending to be young. Especially those men whose eyeballs were about to pop out, and there were even a few who knocked into electricity poles. Where does that person live? Qingye had unknowingly held onto Yi Hua's hand. "I don't know." "I don't know," Yi Hua said gravely. "It seems like she ran out of the house without knowing anything." "I will make a call and ask," Qingye hurriedly said. "One touch, and it's over." Yi Hua looked at the bashful Qingye and asked, "Did you forget to bring your phone as well?" "Who asked you to pull me out of the house?" Qingye said coldly as she pinched onto Yi Hua's arm. "You sure are quick to shift the blame. In any case, it is all your fault. Forget it, just treat it as taking a stroll outside, don't think about going to mourn." Qingye let out a deep sigh. "Right now, I can only do this." "No, this fellow definitely brought his phone with him. Lend me your phone for a while." "Do you remember the phone number?" Yi Hua asked back. "You only know how to show off." Qingye was very melancholic. "I am completely under the control of Yi Hua, and I don't even have a bit of leeway to retaliate. If only this man was a bit more obedient. Although I am very gloomy, I feel that this kind of life isn't bad at all." After dinner, I took a stroll with Yi Hua. Walking on the bustling street, there was no false flattery, there was also no business deception, and there was also no heavy pressure. It was as if all the pressure was shouldered by the man beside her, but he didn't seem to have done anything. Meanwhile, Zhou Yi was also very vexed today. Such a thing actually happened in Long and City. Although it has nothing to do with me, there are still some people who pointed the spearhead at me. I am truly very vexed. Right now, I still have to go and give those rich merchants an explanation. What is there to say about this? If you want to find someone, then go and find my family. And that Bai Qi ran away the moment something happened, he is simply shameless. Jiu Yi, who was sitting in the Rolls-Royce Phantom, looked at the pedestrians on the street. Those two that I met at the banquet yesterday, I probably won't meet them today, right? Please don't appear. The moment you two appear, I will be embarrassed. Chapter 84. Damn it. Why did I have to pass by this road just now? Oh my god. I should just get off the car and ask. Yi Hua and Qingye didn't pay attention to the cars on the road at all and were only taking a silent stroll. If not for the two of them holding hands, just by looking at their expressions, one would have thought that they were strangers. A Rolls-Royce Phantom suddenly stopped at the roadside. Jiu Yi quickly arrived in front of Yi Hua and Qingye and said with a smile, "Boss, lady boss, what a coincidence." Yi Hua really didn't like others disturbing his peace and quiet. "Are you following me?" "Boss, I don't have that kind of free time." "Yi Hua, it's just a coincidence." Qingye smiled lightly. "I got off the car out of goodwill and greeted you, yet your face turned black. You are not giving me face at all." Lady Boss sure is magnanimous. Jiu Yi had a good impression of Qingye. Not only is this woman beautiful, she also has a good heart. Qingye asked with a smile, "Where are you going, Director Gong?" "Lady Boss, don't call me Director Gong, just call me Xiao Jiu." "Ah." Qingye was a bit stupefied. This was the first time I met such a humble person. Yi Hua said faintly, "Just call me when I ask you to." Jiu Yi laughed dryly, "Lady Boss, I was just about to go to Qinghe Garden. It's all because of that matter that happened at noon." "Murder?" Qingye asked. "Lady Boss knows about it too. Those relatives of mine are making a fuss right now. I have to go out and talk to them." "Just nice, I was just about to go out as well," Qingye said and poked Yi Hua's waist. Yi Hua really wanted to give this Jiu Yi a slap. "It's fine if you just drove by. Why did you have to get off the car? Are you bored? Can't you see that I am taking a stroll with my wife after dinner?" "Boss, Lady Boss, please get on the car." Jiu Yi exclaimed that he was very lucky. If the boss went out, things would be much simpler. "Just that, will the boss go out?" "This is a problem, this isn't right. As long as the lady boss goes out, doesn't that mean that the boss also has to go out?" Yi Hua helplessly let Qingye lead him away. To be honest, Yi Hua really wasn't willing to go. I might as well stay at home and play games with my sister-in-law. Qinghe Garden was a cemetery in Long and City. The people who were able to live in this cemetery were mostly the elders of rich people. The price of the cemetery was about the same as buying a house, but the size of the cemetery was even smaller than buying a house. However, today's Clear Harmony Garden seemed to be exceptionally gloomy, and there was even a bit of austere atmosphere in the atmosphere. Qingye looked at the black-clothed men who were standing on both sides of the hall. Their sleeves were tied with white silk scarves, and they looked as if they were prepared to fight. Qingye couldn't help but hold on to Yi Hua's hand tightly. The entire road leading to the park was filled with men in black. The cars that entered were stopped without permission. Of course, they didn't dare to stop Lord Jiu's car. Basically, it was the reporters. When the reporters saw Lord Jiu's car, they were all excited. Driving all the way up the mountain, the parking lot was filled with all kinds of luxurious cars. The entire garden was divided into 5 areas, and they were even marked. Shin Clan, Jia Clan, Yu Clan, Han Clan, Li Clan. These 5 families were most likely the most famous families in Long and City. Of course, there was also Qing family. Unfortunately, in just one afternoon, all the juniors had been killed. Although the murderer had been caught, this was not enough to vent their anger. It was also impossible to let this matter go just like that. As the owner of the clubhouse, Bai family had yet to say anything. When those big shots in front of the morning hall saw that Lord Zhou's car had arrived, they quickly walked over. Lord Zhou really wanted to cry. If this couple wasn't here, how dignified would I be? With them here, I am just like a small follower. Lord Zhou, who was originally sitting at the back of the car, sat on the front passenger seat. After the car stopped, he got off the car first. When everyone saw Lord Zhou getting off the front passenger seat, they were puzzled for a bit, but they didn't think much about it. Lord Zhou, you have finally come. Lord Zhou, you have to uphold justice for us. Lord Zhou, that Bai family is bullying us too much. This northerner is already riding on our heads. Lord Zhou, you have to be the judge. What's the rush? Can't you see that I still have to open the car door? Under everyone's astonishment, Lord Zhou personally opened the front passenger seat door. Seeing the woman who got off the car first, everyone was stunned. Although the woman was not dressed that well, it was unable to conceal the beauty that was in her bones. That long t-shirt added a different kind of allure to the woman. Those juniors were all dumbfounded. Why is this woman so beautiful? She is too perfect. Li Qianni was the family head of Li family. He had a very fat build. Who knows how many layers his chin had? Why does this woman look so familiar? Li Qianni felt that he had seen her somewhere before. Han Wei was the family head of Han family. He had a slightly fat build. I think so too. Yu family's family head, Yuxi's complexion was very bad. Why would Lord Zhou open the door for a woman? Jia Gao Ao, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles, said, perhaps she is some big shot. And Xintao recognized Qingye with a single look, as if he had seen his savior. He knelt in front of Qingye. CEO Qing, you have to uphold justice for me. I only have this one daughter. She is usually very obedient, but after not seeing her for a few hours, she has already sent off her daughter. Everyone was shocked. No wonder she looks familiar. She is actually Qing family's Qingye. How did she become so beautiful? In actuality, Xintao was the most miserable. He got his daughter when he was old, and he doted on her too much. She was the kind of person who was afraid of melting when she was in his mouth and afraid of breaking when she was in his hands. Brother, Miao Miao is so pitiful. Shen Shui, that damn fatty, knelt beside Xintao and cried very reluctantly. Brother only has this one child, and now that she has passed away, I might not be able to give birth to another child even if I want to. If that's the case, I can only take advantage of my son in the future. This is truly an accident. Qingye did not expect that Xintao would have such a big reaction. She wanted to help Xintao up, but Yihua just happened to come out from the car and stop Qingye. That's right, this is done on purpose. Kneeling down is their honor, ignoring them is your right. Everyone's gaze landed on Yihua, and discovered that the women of Qing family seemed to be taking this man as their master. This is too mystical, too sudden. Some people recognized Yihua. After all, they had attended the banquet last night and also heard about the gambling house last night. Truly crazy, gambling all of their family's wealth. I heard that in the end, Xiao family and Tang family left with a black face. Boss, Lady Boss, we have arrived. Lord Zhou's heart was bleeding. In the future, if I see them, I will take a detour. The dignified Lord Zhou actually called them Boss and Lady Boss. Just what is going on? Could it be that that man has a special identity? If not, why would Lord Zhou be so respectful? CEO Shen, the dead cannot come back to life. My condolences. Qingye said in a deep voice. For a man to cry so pitifully, it could be seen how much pain his heart was in. Yihua did not make any speech. As a man, what does crying count as? If it was my subordinate, I would have given him a slap. CEO Qing, Lord Zhou, my daughter died in vain, but the murderer that was caught is an idiot. It must be the doing of the Rank 1 club. Xintao hammered the cement floor, feeling that everything that happened today was done by family from behind. Chapter 85. Jiu Yi took a look at Yihua. and seeing that Yihua did not plan to say anything, Zhou Yi patted Yihua's hand. Let's talk inside, this matter is not a small matter, it can be big or small. Lord Zhou's words shocked everyone. Big or small? What did he mean? Yihua, on the other hand, was hugging on to Qingye to prevent her from showing the pity of a woman. Towards Zhou Ye's words, Yihua wasn't the slightest bit interested. Yehua, let go of me. Qingye said in a low voice, feeling a little embarrassed. Yihua said faintly, you have been hugging me for the entire night, and now that I'm hugging you, that's all. Alright, you can go and sleep on the sofa tonight. You. Why are you so stingy? There are so many people here. You can hug me all you want when we get home. Follow me. Don't forget what you said before. In any case, I'm a weak woman. If you want to use force, there's nothing I can do. However, I will despise you. Qingye flipped her hair indifferently. I am so beautiful and sexy, it is inevitable for Yihua's beastly heart to burst out when I am hugging onto him at night. She could understand him, but she would also despise him. Yihua took a faint look at Qingye. You? That's for the best. Remember that look of disdain in your eyes. In the future, even if you beg me, I won't agree. Yihua took a deep breath. Do I even need to request anything from you? Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was taking a deep breath, Qingye did not continue on. Right now, she had learned to not go overboard. Raising her small hand, Qingye smacked towards Yihua's butt. Yihua looked at Qingye in disbelief, and after a while, he said gravely, Qingye, I will teach you a lesson tonight. I won't bow down to evil forces. You will lower your head. Yihua's right hand tightened, and Qingye cried out in surprise, and her entire body fell into Yihua's embrace. This bastard, he didn't even know where he was. Everyone else was sad. Yihua expressed that it was none of my business. Boss, let's go in and talk, Lord Zhou said in a low voice. If the boss didn't move, he wouldn't dare to move. As for the wealthy businessman behind him, he saw that Lord Zhou didn't move, so he didn't move either. He just watched the couple in front of him being lovey-dovey. Qingye wished that she could dig a hole and hide herself. Originally, it was already very awkward for her to come out wearing this set of clothes, but I didn't expect that when I turned around just now, those people would be following behind me. Everyone was speechless. Qing family had a great background in Long-An City, and right now, they were even preparing to take root in Zijin City. Although there was still a gap between them and those big families in Zijin City, in any case, they were still able to squeeze into Zijin City. As for this man, he was very mysterious. He didn't look like a gigolo. The group arrived at a side room in Clear Harmony Garden. Yihua and Qingye sat down, and Yihua said faintly, you two can chat. Everyone sat down, and Lord Zhou let out a sigh of relief. Everyone, I am also very sorry that such a thing happened, but the dead cannot come back to life. Now that the culprit has been caught, everyone's hearts can be appeased. As for the Bai family, in fact, it is not good for you or me if this matter is blown up. Li Qianni disagreed. Ninth Master, our children were murdered in the first-class clubhouse, so the Bai family has to take responsibility. That's right, Director Li is right. Jia Gao Ao agreed. Lord Zhou, it can't be that you're afraid of the Bai family and that's why you're siding with them, right? Yu Yusi asked solemnly. Lord Zhou said helplessly, I can understand everyone's feelings. It's fine if you want to pursue the Bai clan's responsibility, but you need some time. You can't be thinking of killing your way over, right? Ninth Master, no matter how powerful the Bai family is or how high their status is, they should give us an explanation for what happened. Han Wei's face turned cold. Yihua finally understood. These people are afraid of Bai family and want to use Xiao Jiao as cannon fodder. However, how could these little rich merchants have the guts to challenge the Bai family? Although they were standing on the side of reason, it was still unusual. That was how humans were. They schemed against each other and schemed against each other. It was the same even when they were playing games. That's right. Do you think we, the South, are afraid of the North? Li Qianni said boldly as if he wanted to start a war with the North. Yi Hua held onto his chin and asked, Qingya, how is this Bai family? Bai family is very strong, especially Bai family's women. The woman that Wang Debao married yesterday is a woman from Bai family. Qingya said in a low voice. How many wives does Wang Debao have? Yi Hua asked. Why do you care about that? How many? Qingya said coldly, Wang Debao is very single-minded, he only has one wife. This Wang Debao is indeed a bit interesting. Yi Hua said faintly. Which of those who have a bit of strength doesn't have a bunch of wives and concubines? That Xiao Yi, and that Tang Wushuang. Qingya mumbled, but he dotes on his wife a lot. You mean that I don't dote on you? Yi Hua asked back. Qingya put on a straight face, have you ever doted on me before? Yi Hua could be seen leaning towards Qingya's ear and saying in a low voice, that night, I doted on you a lot. Scoundrel. Qingya couldn't help but shout out and raised her little fist. Unfortunately, her little fist was grabbed onto by Yi Hua. Everyone present looked towards Yi Hua and Qingya in unison. We are discussing about a big matter, and yet, you two are flirting with each other, this is truly infuriating. What are you looking at, have you never seen a husband and wife quarrel before? Yi Hua said coldly. Everyone was speechless. You are obviously the one who disturbed us, and yet, you are the one who is complaining first. Yi Hua, don't be like this. Qingya said petulantly. After this fellow is done acting cool, I have to clean up after him. Qingya laughed lightly, everyone, I'm sorry, my husband, Wu. Before Qingya could finish speaking, Yi Hua covered Qingya's mouth. Is there a need for me to explain? Jiu Yi blushed with shame, the boss is indeed awesome. I am just like this. Yi Hua said faintly, then let go of his hand. Let's see how you are going to smooth things over. Qingya was very angry, can't you speak properly? It is enough for you to use this kind of tone to talk to me, but to still act like this when going out, you are going to make enemies. Everyone was still unclear of Yi Hua's background, thus they decided to bide their time. After all, even Jiu Yi had to call him boss. Everyone, I am late. A man who was wearing a green gown could be seen walking over slowly, and behind him was a young man who was also wearing a green gown and carrying a long sword on his back. If Qing Yutong was here, she would definitely recognize this green gown man, he was that Dao defender who beat the dog until it vomited blood. Deacon Jian, you are finally here. Everyone hurriedly stood up and greeted. This Deacon Jian is incredible. I heard that he is the deacon of a certain sect in the cultivation world, and also the contact person of Long and City. Deacon Jian, why were you tied up in the park this morning? Jia Gaoao really touched on the sore spot. Jian Yuan's face sunk, then he laughed and said, something went wrong when I was training yesterday, causing my power to be greatly damaged, and I also met with a ferocious beast. You are the dog abuser who was tied up on the tree this morning? Qingya asked curiously, but after asking, she immediately regretted it, this is very rude. The air instantly froze, Jian Yuan's face turned white and red, and even the small cultivator who was following behind him felt embarrassed. Qingya, how can you speak like that, he is a cultivator. Yi Hua said calmly. Qingya was shocked, he is even a cultivator. Yi Hua laughed. Jian Yuan was about to bleed internally. Everyone was already scared out of their wits. Jiu Yi was convinced, this husband and wife are really good at slandering people. Chapter 86. The atmosphere at the scene was already awkward to the extreme. Qingya wished that she could bite Yi Hua to death. The words that I used just now had the intention of belittling him, I really didn't know that he was a cultivator. Qingya could be heard saying apologetically, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to slander you. Jian Yuan, everyone, Qingya opened her beautiful eyes wide, feeling that she had said the wrong thing again. Really, being pregnant makes one foolish for 3 years. No. I must have been infected by Yi Hua, he is going to take the blame for me. How could Jian Yuan be calculative with an ordinary person? There were rules in the cultivation world, one cannot harm an ordinary person, if not, one would definitely be punished. Young lady, it's fine. Jian Yuan didn't know how he was feeling right now, it might be the same as yesterday night, that kind of sullen, that kind of powerlessness. Yi Hua reminded, she is not a young lady anymore. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yi Hua, is this fellow really going to anger me to death before he stops? Jian Yuan laughed dryly, then said to everyone, please calm down, I have already reported the matter that happened at noon to the sect, I believe that everyone will be given a satisfactory answer. After all, our South is not that easy to bully. Deacon Jian Yuan is indeed wise, I admire you. Li Qianyi cupped his hands and said with a smile. Jia Gaoao said heroically, Deacon Jian Yuan, let's not talk about anything else, I will donate 10 million to add food for your esteemed sect. Me too. Yusis shouted out too. Me too. Shen Tao took a look at Qingye and shouted out too. Jian Yuan thanks everyone here, forget about the money, I have a presumptuous request. Jian Yuan smiled with his hands behind his back. He had the demeanor of an expert, and his temperament became faintly discernible, not at all like a person who was being hung up. Han Wei said, Jian Yuan is too polite, if there is anything you need, just say it, as long as it is within my capabilities, I will definitely do my best. Actually, it's nothing much, I heard that everyone bought a mountain together and is preparing to develop it, my sect is also interested, the money will naturally be given to everyone, and also my sect's miraculous medicine. Hearing that, everyone's expression immediately stiffened for a moment, but they who were cunning also instantly came back to their senses. Yi Hua could be considered to know what Jian Yuan was planning. From the looks of it, the reason why these few people dared to be so arrogant was all because of that mountain, and this Jian Yuan was planning to get a share of the loot. Lord Zhou was also a little puzzled. Recently, they had indeed teamed up to develop a mountain. More accurately, it was a few mountain peaks. At that time, he didn't have high hopes for it because it was too remote. Now that Jian Yuan mentioned it, he immediately knew what they were thinking. No wonder they dared to be so arrogant. They had probably obtained some treasures, or they wanted to create a diversion and create chaos first. Only then would they be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits of others. Just that, how did Jian Yuan know about it? Also, what kind of treasure was inside that mountain? Thinking back to why Xiao Yi wanted to invest in Long and City, could it be that it was also because of this mountain? Instantly, Lord Zhou's curiosity was piqued. Qingye stealthily sized up the two cultivators. In the past, I have only seen cultivators in movies or novels, but now that I am standing in front of real cultivators, why do I feel that they are so unreal? Even my view of the world has changed. Are they able to step on the small swords on their back and fly? That was way too powerful. What are you thinking about? Yi Hua asked. Are they really cultivators? Qingye was still unable to believe the fact before her eyes. Yi Hua said faintly, actually, I am also a cultivator. Qingye immediately rolled her eyes. Qingye, your ability to roll your eyes has improved a bit. Yi Hua, your ability to brag is getting better and better. Yi Hua laughed lightly, what if I am a cultivator? You are. I, Qingye, write my name backwards. There is no need for that, as long as you promise to listen to me obediently, you cannot go west when I say east. Yi Hua revealed out a mysterious smile, causing Qingye to become flustered. Qingye's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. What kind of tricks is this fellow trying to play again? All right. If you are not a cultivator, then you have to listen to me, and in the future, you have to peel crayfish for me. All right. Yi Hua agreed very straightforwardly. This woman actually dares to make such a bet with me, she is truly silly to the point of being adorable. Yi Hua could be seen taking out his phone and turning on the recording, in view of the fact that sometimes, you always run your mouth off, I have to record it. You are the one who runs your mouth off. Qinya couldn't help but raise her voice, causing everyone that was sitting at the table to have a headache. Jian Yun laughed lightly. Madam, can you lower your voice a bit? We are currently discussing some matters. I'm sorry. Qinya hurriedly nodded her head and apologized. Yi Hua said faintly, you all be quiet, don't create trouble for me. It wasn't easy for Yi Hua to trick Qinya, so he mustn't let her down. After adjusting the recording, Yi Hua said, speak. Towards Yi Hua's childlike actions, Qinya was helpless and said, if Yi Hua is really a cultivator, Qinya, promise to be obedient in the future. Yi Hua will be my sky, alright? Yi Hua was very satisfied and kept his phone. You are a cultivator as well? Jian Yun asked curiously. I am unable to see through this man's cultivation. Yi Hua nodded his head. Loose cultivator. Yi Hua said, self-cultivation. That's right, Yi Hua is self-cultivating. Could it be that an undead wants to enter the human world to learn? You are thinking too much. Even the other races look down on the undead, they are just like street rats. Your distinguished self said that you are a cultivator, how about you give me a few moves? The young man that was with Jian Yun said. He had long disliked Yi Hua. Forget that Yi Hua is handsome, even his wife is so beautiful. Yi Hua suddenly said coldly, since you all were rude to my wife, I shall properly teach you all a lesson. Yi Hua, stop messing around. Qinya shook Yi Hua's arm. It is one thing for you to act cool in front of your wife, after all, we are all family, but now, you even went to act cool in front of others. Yi Hua patted onto the back of Qinya's hand. Qinya, remember what you said just now. Suddenly, Yi Hua stretched out his index finger, and a purple flame appeared out of nowhere. That bewitching color made people unable to take their eyes off of the purple flame. When that purple flame shone onto Yi Hua's face, it made people exclaim in admiration. Yi Hua flicked out his finger, and the purple flame landed on the ground. The flame did not extinguish, nor did it melt the ground, as if it was just an illusion. Qinya, who was at the side, was already stunned. Yi Hua can't be playing magic right, but this is too strange, right? An even stranger thing could be seen happening. That purple flame actually slowly twisted and formed into a head and 4 limbs, just that. Why is there a bottle gourd on the head? That's right, this is the bottle gourd brother that Yi Hua transformed into, the embodiment of justice, the spokesperson that fights against the strong and helps the weak. The purple bottle gourd brother seemed to have a life of its own as it looked left and right, sizing up everything, just like a super cute little pet. However, the size of the purple bottle gourd brother was even smaller than a rabbit by half. Qinya. Yi Hua looked towards Qinya, seemingly asking her if she admitted defeat. Qinya looked at Yi Hua dumbfoundedly. Even if you beat her to death, she wouldn't believe that my man is actually a cultivator. How is this possible? Thinking back to the things that happened these few days, so he wasn't acting cool, and what he said was all true. Chapter 87. Qinya's brain was unable to function normally and was currently in a frozen state. Not to mention Qinya, everyone, including Jiu Yi, was stupefied. Even Jian Yuan was stupefied. To casually create a living spirit, how is this possible? The face of the young man at the back was filled with disbelief. How can he be a cultivator? This is definitely fake. Evil arts of the pugilistic world, watch my sword. The young man immediately pulled out his sword and stabbed towards the Calabash brother. I want to expose his lies and let everyone here know that he is a gigolo. I also want that beauty to know that he is a swindler. The purple Calabash brother looked at the incoming sword curiously and did not move at all. However, the sword that was glowing with white light easily pierced through the body of the Calabash brother. Everyone couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. A complacent look appeared in the young man's eyes. He even looked towards Yi Hua, seemingly saying that this little thing is not much, I killed him easily. Yi Hua did not say anything and poked Qinya's forehead, stupid. Qinya came back to her senses and said, you are the stupid one. How do you want to deal with them? You decide. Yi Hua said indifferently. In any case, I didn't do it myself, so I didn't break the rules. Qingye punched Yi Hua. What do you mean deal with them? Your calabash brother was pierced through the heart. Pierced through the heart. Yi Hua smiled and did not say anything. The purple calabash brother touched the sword and seemed to be very curious. However, just this small action of his made everyone gasp in shock. He didn't die. The young man turned pale with fright and tried to pull the sword out with his right hand, but the calabash brother grabbed onto the sword and seemed to be very unhappy. This is my toy. Back off. Jian Yuan shouted lightly. Deacon, I can't pull it out. The young man was very helpless. Just what the hell is this calabash brother? Suddenly, a purple light emitted out from the hand of the calabash brother, and the sword was instantly wrapped up. The young man revealed a look of shock and immediately let go of the sword. The calabash brother swung his hand, and the purple sword floated in the air, looking very dazzling. Qingye, do you want them to live or die? Yi Hua asked Qingye, who was absent-minded. Qingye looked at Yi Hua blankly. She was getting more and more confused about Yi Hua. Just what kind of person is he? He knocked on the silly woman's head and said, You look pretty cute in this adorable way. Why did you knock my head? Qingye rubbed onto her head petulantly. You haven't answered me yet. Answer what? They have offended you. It's not like other people did it on purpose. Forget about it, forget about it. Qingye said in a low voice. In the end, Qingye was still just a little woman. After hearing what Qingye said, Yi Hua let out a sigh. Qingye, you should know that offending you is equivalent to offending me. Have you ever thought about it? After hearing that, Qingye remained silent. I'll let it go this time, but don't make the same mistake next time. As the wife of a supreme overlord, not only did she have to consider herself, she also had to consider her husband's face. Qingye bit her lips, not knowing what she was thinking. However, everyone listened to the conversation between the couple. They were simply showing off to the extreme. What did they mean by offensive? Did they think they were emperors? However, they only dared to think about it and didn't dare to say it out. They were afraid that the purple sword in the sky would give them a chill. At noon, the juniors were all annihilated. Could it be that the seniors are going to die together with them at night? Jiu Yi finally understood the advice that his big brother gave him before he died. This boss is truly a cultivator, and his strength is even stronger than Jian Yuan, truly formidable. The purple calabash brother lightly leaped onto the purple sword that was floating in the sky, then began flying around. That small posture of his was like he was skiing, showing that he was having a lot of fun. Mr. has great strength. Jian Yuan cupped his hands and said. Yi Hua said, didn't you say that you wanted to spar with me? Jian Yuan's heart sunk. This calabash brother looks very childish, but from the looks of it, his strength has definitely reached a terrifying level. Spar with me is completely seeking death. Mr.'s strength is extraordinary, we are not Mr.'s opponent. We have offended you just now, I hope that Mr. will not blame us. Jian Yuan let out a sigh of relief. A good man should know when to yield and when to advance and when to retreat. What's the use of acting cool for a moment? Yi Hua felt that it was alright to speak like this. According to his temperament in the past, he would definitely ignore his begging for mercy, but thinking from the perspective of a human, he would definitely want to obtain a greater benefit. Since you are sincerely lowering your head and begging for mercy, then I will spare your life. Yi Hua said indifferently. Jian Yuan looked as if he had eaten a fly. How am I begging for mercy? I am just praising you. Alright, that's right, this can only be counted as a disguised form of begging for mercy, but aren't you not giving me any face at all? Right now, everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Even Jian Yuan Deacon has to lower his head and admit his mistake, then what do we count as? That purple sword that was floating in the sky was like a death sentence, whoever dares to speak carelessly would have their heart pierced through. Jian Yuan Deacon, since the boss has already spared your life, you should smile, don't frown. Jiu Yi suddenly stood up and said with a smile, having the intention of hugging onto Yi Hua's thigh. Why the F*** am I supposed to smile? Will I beg for mercy? I will never beg for mercy in my entire life. This is the last time I will beg for mercy. Next time definitely won't. No. There won't be a next time. Why did you all butt in? Yi Hua asked curiously. Jian Yuan went into a daze, then played dumb and said, Mister, what do you mean? Baiu. The purple sword had already appeared in between Jian Yuan Deacon's eyebrows. Calabash Brother was lying on the body of the sword, posing like a drunk concubine. If not for the fact that the situation wasn't right, Qingya would definitely laugh out. Jian Yuan didn't know why, but his body was already out of control. This sword might was too huge, but it was only released by Calabash Brother who was lying on the body of the sword, and from start to finish, that man had only thrown out a purple flame. Think about what I mean. Yi Hua said unhurriedly, while playing with Qingya's finger. It was rather tender and smooth. Mister, I don't care what reason you have, I will ask and you will answer. Furthermore, there are a lot of people who are smarter than you here. Yi Hua said coldly. If not for Qingya being soft-hearted, she would have already poked his forehead. In any case, it wasn't me who did it, it doesn't count. Jian Yuan was sweating profusely. Why am I so unlucky these 2 days? Sailor Moon and Calabash Brother, I actually got bullied by a character from an anime, can I still have fun? Why is there such a strong person in this city? After I return this time, I definitely have to report to the sect. I will not stay in city even if I am beaten to death. Mister, there is a dragon vein under the mountain that they bought. Dragon vein. Yi Hua went into a slight daze, and here I thought that it was something that made them fight over it. To make such a big fuss over a mere dragon vein. Under the dragon vein, there are a lot of treasures, pills, orbs, techniques, and so on. Jian Yuan had the heart to cry, and he took out everything. Yi Hua waved his hand, and Calabash Brother instantly dissipated. The purple sword also returned back to its original form and fell onto the ground. And those wealthy merchants' eyes were opened wide. There are orbs and techniques, no wonder our Yunfeng sect wants to butt in. Chapter 88. There was no longer any meaning in staying here any longer. Pulling Qingya who was absent-minded, Yi Hua said, Xiao Jiu, call a car over. Lord Jiu immediately stood up. I'll make the arrangements now. Boss, please wait for a while. The driver will be here soon. Yi Hua nodded his head. This Wei Chang and Lai Gu's temperament is very weird. As long as someone is disrespectful to me, I will kill them without saying a word. Leaving this Xiao Jiu with me can also be used to deal with some trivial matters. If Jiu Yi were to know of Yi Hua's thoughts, he would definitely be in a dilemma. On one hand, he wants to hug Yi Hua's thigh, and on the other hand, he also wants to hug Yi Hua's thigh to save face. Very quickly, Jiu Ye's Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived, and the driver respectfully opened the door of the car. Yi Hua pulled Qingya who was absent-minded and walked out of the side hall. The things that they are talking about are too childish, I am not interested in knowing about it, and I don't want to know about it either. Right now, I am only curious about the thoughts of Qingya, this fool. After knowing my strength, you are already stupefied. Let's see if you are still going to be naughty in the future. Qingya was indeed stupefied. Never in a million years would I have thought that the man that I randomly found would be a cultivator. I really don't know if this is good luck or bad luck. Could it be that all cultivators have such a bad temper? Asking his woman to peel crayfish and buy pancakes at every turn. On the way back, the two of them didn't converse with each other at all. Yi Hua was a little impatient. Could it be that this stupid woman was scared silly? Stop at the side. Yi Hua said coldly. The driver didn't dare to say anything else. He had to pull over even if he had to pay a fine. After pulling Qingya who was still in a daze, Qingya walked to the riverside and gazed into the distance. There were quite a number of couples strolling along the riverside, and there were also many elderly people dancing in the square. The main reason was that the riverside was cool. From time to time, a cool breeze would blow, making one feel relaxed and happy. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then leaned against the guardrail. Meanwhile, Qingya was standing at the side, and the breeze was blowing her beautiful hair, not knowing what she was thinking about. After finishing smoking a cigarette, Yihua was a bit irritated. Could it be that I have really become stupid? Speak. Yihua said gravely. Qingya took a deep breath, then asked, Yihua, do you know grafting? What do you mean? Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. If I learn it, I can absorb your inner force. Yihua, what's the point of learning that kind of inferior cultivation technique? Yihua said in disdain. This woman's hair is too long, but her experience is too short. Do you know 3 flower at once prominence? Yihua's frown deepened. No, then do you know the 9 Yin Sutra? Yihua had the thought of smacking Qingya's butt. Ah, not yet. Where's the Dark North Divine Art? You can't even do that. Buddha's Palm headquarters, right? Sigh, Yihua, could it be that you have cultivated the Sunflower Manual? Yihua couldn't bear it anymore and hugged Qingya into his embrace. Don't you know whether or not I have practiced the Sunflower Treasured Book? Qingya let out a breath. Just now, I just wanted to tease Yihua a bit, and upon discovering that he is still the same as before, I can finally be at ease. Just that, with the additional identity of a cultivator, I don't know if I will be able to gain face for myself if I were to tell others about it. For example, other people say, my husband is worth tens of billions. Where does your husband come from? Qingya placed her hands on her waist and shouted out proudly, your husband is nothing, my husband is someone from the cultivation world. If Yihua knew what Qingya was thinking right now, he would definitely give Qingya a lecture. To actually compare yourself with that kind of low-rank job. Are you really someone from the cultivation world? Qingya asked. Yihua didn't know how to reply. What the hell is the cultivation world? If I were to deny right now, would she go back on her words? After all, what I am betting on is whether I am a cultivator or not. However, admitting that I am a cultivator, I feel really low. However, for the sake of teaching Qingya a lesson, I might as well be a little low. Seems like for this woman, my bottom line is getting lower and lower. Yes. Yihua said indifferently. Then, are you very powerful, the kind that can blow up a car with a punch, and can even fly into the sky? Yes. Then, can I fly on a sword? Can I fly into space? But there is no oxygen, Yihua, do you not want to breathe anymore? A few black lines appeared on Yihua's forehead. No wonder you were like that night, so you are a cultivator, you must have taken your medicine. Yihua was really angered and said coldly, you can come and give it a try tonight. TSK, I won't fall for it. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator, I have to hug onto your thigh and listen to your words. Qingya pushed Yihua away, stood in front of Yihua, raised her chin and said confidently. Yihua said gravely, did you forget about your vow? What vow? I don't know what you are talking about. I knew that you would be like this. Yihua took out his phone and played Qingya's recording. If Yihua is really a cultivator, Qingya, promise that I will be obedient in the future, Yihua will be my sky, alright? After listening to her vow, Qingya immediately understood, I was tricked by Yihua again. I won't accept this, you lied to me. Qingya raised up her small fist again, but unfortunately, her wrist was grabbed onto by Yihua. Yihua knew that Qingya would go back on her words and said coldly, do you think that your small fist will be able to harm me? Qingya's expression immediately sunk as she said, I know that you are a cultivator now, and you are very powerful. I am just an ordinary woman, and I am completely not your opponent. If you want to hit me, then go ahead and hit me, in any case, there is no one in this world who would feel sorry for me. After hearing what Qingya said, Yihua went into a daze. Why do I feel that I am the one in the wrong? If I wanted to hit you, I would have long slapped you into the sky. Look, your expression is that of anger. Go ahead and hit me, in any case, I don't have the strength to fight back. Qinya said faintly. Her resentment soared to the sky, and the people who were passing by were able to sense that heavy resentment. Even if they were separated by a screen, they would still be able to smell it. Yihua resisted the urge to smack Qinya's butt. Do you really think that I don't dare to hit you? You are a cultivator, you are the biggest, whatever you say goes. Qinya spread out her hands helplessly. Don't compare me with cultivators. Yihua shouted out lightly. Cultivators are nothing, just a fart is enough to crush us to death. Sigh, my husband is using his identity to oppress me. Sigh, Yihua suddenly felt that if he were to tell her a little bit of things, she would be able to soar into the sky. If I had known that this would happen, I would have kept it a secret. To actually say that I am using my identity to oppress me, you are clearly the one who lost the bet. Seeing that Yihua was not speaking, Qinya rubbed her ankle and said lightly, I can't walk anymore. Take a taxi by yourself. Yihua said petulantly, then lit up another stick of cigarette. Qinya snorted coldly, then made a flower-pinching finger gesture. I don't know who was the one who said that as long as my ankle hurts, you will have to carry me on your back. And you are even a cultivator, your mouth sure is full of nonsense. Cough, 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 this was the first time that Yihua choked on his own cigarette. Originally, I wanted to use the recording to educate Qinya, but in the end, I didn't expect that my identity would instead become a handle that Qinya could use against me. She is even a cultivator. If I were to tell her my real identity, things would get out of hand. Forget it, I will just slowly walk back. The identity of a cultivator is noble, how can I carry my wife on my back? If this matter were to be spread out, I would lose so much face. Qinya suddenly added a sentence. Chapter 89. Come up. After a while, Yihua suppressed the impulse in his heart and shouted out coldly. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Qinya's mouth, then she turned her head and said, Really? You won't throw me into the river, right? Come up. I don't want to say it a second time. Yihua really wanted to turn back time. This woman is truly much smarter than what I imagined her to be. Qinya immediately arrived behind Yihua and patted on Yihua's back. Squat down a bit. As the almighty supreme overlord, Yihua felt tired and helpless as he slowly bowed his body. This is the first woman that dares to be so arrogant towards me. Qinya suddenly jumped up and wrapped her spotlessly white arms around Yihua's neck. Meanwhile, Yihua began to walk forward, and the scene was rather comical. Because Yihua didn't hold on to Qinya's legs, right now, it was as if Yihua was carrying a corpse. Qinya, who was on Yihua's back, immediately shouted out, Yihua, if you don't want to carry me, just say it. What are you trying to do this time? This cannot be blamed on Yihua, after all, he had never turned his back on anyone before. Don't you know how to hold my legs? Do you want to drag me home? Yihua took a deep breath. You are the first woman who dares to shout at me. What's wrong? Did I hurt the dignity of the cultivators? Don't mention cultivators to me. Right now, Yihua hated cultivators to the core, and he really wanted to get rid of all of the cultivators. It was precisely because of the cultivators that he was teased by this woman. Qinya pouted and did not provoke Yihua anymore, because she discovered that Yihua was currently walking towards the riverside. Unknowingly, Qinya walked to the street, and Qinya became the object of envy of all women. Look at the others. They all know how to carry their girlfriends. Why don't you carry me? Then why don't you look at other people's girlfriends' bodies? As long as I carry you, you have to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You're so annoying. You want to take advantage of me again. The skinny man was already in despair. Was I talking about taking advantage of her? I'm talking about how fat you are. Oh my God, this is so hopeless. Leaning on that broad and sturdy back, Qinya felt extremely safe. Towards the envious gazes that other people were casting at her, she also happily accepted them. If you guys have the ability, then go and find a cultivator husband to carry as well. Yehua. Qingye called out softly. Yihua lightly nodded. In actuality, he was silently praying in his heart that Lai Gu and Wei Chang must not see this. Will you really hit me? Yihua stopped his footsteps and immediately slapped onto Qingye's perky butt. Do you think that I dare or not? Qingye was stupefied. This fellow actually dared to spank my butt in front of so many people. Shameless. Without waiting for Qingye to start scolding, Yihua took the initiative and said, I have a voice recording as evidence. You better be more obedient in the future, if not, I will spank your butt until it is swollen. Qingye pouted her small mouth. Humph, you are a cultivator, so of course you can only rely on your martial strength. Yihua remained silent. I swear. Tonight, I am going to properly teach Qingye a lesson and let her know the consequences of going back on her words. Not long after, Yihua arrived at Leisure Bar while carrying Qingye on his back. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Yihua walked upstairs. Wei Chang swore that he would definitely tell this scene to Lai Gu. Bang! The bedroom door was heavily closed by Yihua. Qing Yutong naturally heard what happened and immediately ran over to the corner of the bedroom to eavesdrop. Brother-in-law and big sister sure are passionate every single day. Sure enough, in just a few seconds, big sister's panting sound could be heard from the bedroom. Qing Yutong's entire body was in a bad state. Brother-in-law is simply too ferocious. Big sister's panting is not panting anymore, she is almost shouting for help. The two of them are simply too hardcore, so perverted. On the spacious bed, Yihua was currently teaching Qingye a lesson. Don't think too much, I am just placing Qingye on my thighs and spanking that sexy little butt of hers. The amount of force that I control is just right, just that. Isn't Qingye's scream too exaggerated? Ah! Yihua, I have seen through you, you only know how to hit your wife. Ah! Let me tell you, Yihua, if I am stronger than you, I will use the same posture to spank you. Ah! You bastard, are you addicted to spank me? Ah! I am a pregnant woman. You can't spank me like this. Suddenly, Yihua recalled that Qingye was still pregnant with his blood, and immediately stopped. Come on. Why did you stop? Cultivator. Qingye shouted out coldly. Yihua let out a sigh, then helped Qingye up and said seriously, Qingye, can you not make me worry a bit less? Qingye looked at Yihua in disbelief, then directly pushed Yihua onto the bed and said, Who are you saying is not making you worry? How am I not making you worry? You explain clearly to me. Yihua was a bit absent-minded as he stared at the face that was right in front of him and that charming red lips. Suddenly, he recalled that night, that soft feeling, and expressed that he still wanted to try. Sure enough, under Qingye's adorable expression, Yihua kissed onto Qingye's lips. Yihua thought to himself in his heart, it is still that kind of soft and a bit sweet. Bang! At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open by Qing Yutong. Yihua and Qingye who were on the bed immediately looked at Qing Yutong who suddenly appeared with cold eyes. I heard that the two of you didn't make a sound, and I thought that the two of you had perished together. I will leave now, the two of you can continue, don't bother about me, bye-bye. Qing Yutong immediately left. The gaze of brother-in-law and big sister is so scary. Yihua pushed Qingye away and said calmly, I am going to take a bath. In actuality, his heart was not calm at all. Oh. Qingye who was angry just a moment ago also cowered and sat cross-legged on the bed in a daze. The atmosphere between the two of them immediately became awkward. Even after Yihua came out from the bath, Qingye did not say anything and just rushed into the bath. After that, the two of them just lay on the bed, one on the other side, and neither of them spoke first. Is your phone turned off? Yihua asked lightly, he was unable to hold it in anymore. Qingye's tone was also not that cold, it is turned off. Just that, the two of them spoke one after another, and the atmosphere instantly quietened down. Roughly half an hour later, Qingye finally could not hold it in anymore and asked lightly, "Are you asleep? If you want to come over, then come over." Yihua said faintly. This woman really wants to save face. Qingye snorted and lightly moved her body, then closed her eyes and hugged onto Yihua, as if by doing this, she would not find out. She was purely deceiving herself. Just that, Yihua's heartbeat is a bit fast today. Why is my heartbeat also following the rhythm? This fellow is indeed messing around with the rhythm. Yihua, you are a cultivator, and I am just an ordinary person, will you? Before Qingye finished speaking, Yihua interrupted and said solemnly, "I won't." This was the tacit understanding that a husband and wife should have. There were some words that the other party did not need to finish speaking, and the other party would know. Yihua was just like this. Qingye's character was more or less clear. To put it simply, she was a hedgehog that did not have any sense of security. Before tonight, Qingye felt that the gap between her and Yihua was not that big. In any case, Yihua was also the boss of a bar, and both of them were bosses. However, now, it had changed. Yihua was not only a boss, he was also a cultivator, and in the novels, he was able to ascend to immortality. The huge sense of loss made Qingye very melancholy, feeling that Yihua was suddenly very far away from her. Thus, she made Yihua look as angry as usual, and the facts proved that Yihua was still the same. However, she kept feeling that she would lose Yihua, perhaps on the day when the child was born. After all, the promise that she made on that day was still lingering in her mind. Chapter 90. Carrying along this uneasy feeling, Qingye gradually fell asleep. Hugging onto Yihua while sleeping is very comfortable. If I suddenly lose him one day, I will probably suffer from insomnia. Right now, Yihua was also thinking blindly, but he wasn't as emotional as Qingye. Instead, he was thinking about how to get back my face. Could it be that I have to show off my manliness in front of her? I wonder if killing millions of people would be enough. If that's the case, she would willingly submit to me. This doesn't seem right. Just what is wrong? This is so vexing. Just like that, the two gradually fell asleep with their own feelings, until the sound of knocking on the door rang out in the morning, waking Yihua and Qingye up. Brother-in-law big sister, Qing Yutong stood outside the door and shouted. From her tone, one could tell that she was asking for someone. Yihua patted onto Qingye's shoulder, "Go and open the door." Qingye grabbed onto her hair. "What are you doing so early in the morning? What's the matter?" Qingye opened the door and asked angrily. Qing Yutong could be seen to have already changed her clothes, wearing a big round hat and sunglasses. She should be considered to be fully armed. "Big sister, didn't you tell me to go to Gaohai City today? It's so dangerous for me to go to the airport alone. Aren't you and brother-in-law going to send me off?" Qing Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes, pulled onto Qingye's arm and said coquettishly. Qingye wrinkled her brows. "You are already an adult. Do you still need to send me off? Can't you just drive directly to the airport?" "Big sister, you don't even care about your little sister. My heart hurts." Yihua was no longer sleepy. He got off the bed and said, "Let's just go and send her off, and eat breakfast on the way." The corner of Qing Yutong's mouth twitched. "I feel like it's all thanks to breakfast. Since the man has already spoken, what else can Qingye say?" She went to wash up. 15 minutes later, the two were ready. Qingye on the other hand was very happy right now, because there was no need for her to put on makeup. Her face was simply too stunning. Thinking back to the meat on that day, Qingye was very curious. Could it really be dragon meat? "Yutong, drive." Qingye threw the car key to her little sister. Qing Yutong knew that it would be like this. The two of them were masters, especially brother-in-law. That expression of his was just like an emperor coming out of the palace. Sitting on the Audi A8, Qing Yutong successfully obtained the identity of the driver, while Qing Yutong and Qingye sat at the back. Qing Yutong, who was driving the car, silently thought to herself. Last night, they were clearly quarreling so much, and in the end, when I knocked open the door to take a look, I saw that they were actually lying on the bed and kissing. "Yutong, for the next few days, properly cooperate with us, alright? Don't cause any trouble again. Qingye reminded. Qingye understood her younger sister's personality very well. Yutong was puzzled. Qing said, Yutong, I said. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 days. You have to get it done. Alright, in any case, you all just want to chase me away. When is my little nephew coming out? By then, we would have already run away from home, Yutong. Qing, ya, Qing. Qingye was filled with melancholy. It was as if she had already seen her child running away from home along with her younger sister. Ya said. I, Qing. I, by day, I. Quiet down, what's there to quarrel about? Yihua said gravely. Quarreling every day, this is giving me a headache. The two goddess-like women pouted and quietened down. Half an hour later, Qing Yutong finally arrived at the airport. Aren't you two coming down to send me off? Yihua and Qingye directly ignored her, and Qingye even went up to the car and stepped on the accelerator, leaving behind Qing Yutong, who had an adorable look on her face. Ah, these two are simply angering me to death. They don't have a bit of sympathy. Let me tell you, I am going to run away from home for half a month. Seems to be a bit long, 1 week then. Let's see if you two are anxious or not. Qing Yutong, who was throwing a small tantrum, walked into the airport and immediately attracted attention. Although she was fully armed, her temperament could not be changed. Don't look at how Qing Yutong was carefree in front of Yihua and Qingye. When she met outsiders, she would change. After all, Yihua and Qingye were her relatives. In the car, Yihua said faintly, let's go out for a walk today. Cultivator, do you want to go on a date with me? Qingye teased, the corner of her mouth unconsciously raised up. Can you remove the word cultivator from your mouth? Can't you speak properly? Yihua felt that telling her that he was a mistake. If he were to directly tell her that he was a supreme overlord, things would get out of hand. Qingye laughed tenderly, alright, I will remove it from your mouth, alright? After remaining silent for a while, Yihua asked, what do you think of my personality? Qingye was very puzzled. This fellow is not normal today. Do you still have a personality? Those who don't know would think that you are an emperor. Your face is cold every day, and you even have problems with the most basic communication. Yihua, are you sick? Autism, you are also a cultivator. You have to hide your identity. Qingye. Yihua shouted out gravely, this woman can't even leave the word cultivator out of her mouth right now. To even say that I am sick, her guts are really getting bigger and bigger. Look, after saying a few sentences of yours, you are jumping up again. As a human, you have to learn to be calm. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator that you are superior to others. You have to learn to integrate with others. Cultivator again. Cultivator again. Yihua really regretted admitting that he was a cultivator right now. After taking in a few deep breaths, Yihua calmly asked, is there any way to solve it? Do I really have to solve it? Qingye found it hard to believe. Yihua couldn't be having a fever today, right? I am thinking too much. Yihua just felt that learning human nature was not something that one could learn on the surface. One had to put it into practice. However, talking to these low-grade creatures, I feel very uncomfortable. I wonder how Wei Chang did it. Yihua lightly grunted, feeling that he had lost a lot of face. I will bring you to a place. I guarantee that you will be able to get rid of those bad habits of yours. Qingye felt that today was really wonderful. Yihua is finally obedient. Bad habits. Yihua said gravely. This is the dignity of a supreme overlord, but when it comes to her mouth, it became a bad habit. Could it be that it is a good habit? Qingye snorted. Half an hour later, Qingye brought Yihua to a place that was overcrowded with people, the pedestrian street of Long and City. Last time, I even came here to eat skewers. Why did you bring me here? Yihua asked faintly. Don't think too much, come with me. Qingye held onto Yihua's big hand and walked into Adi's specialty store. Inside the specialty store, there were almost all female salespeople, and when they saw such a handsome guy, they all rushed over. When they saw the woman beside Yihua, they immediately stopped their footsteps. The woman was so beautiful that it made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Qingye sized up the sportswear, then looked at the suit that Yihua was wearing. Don't dress so solemnly all day, when it is time to relax, relax. Yihua remained silent. What are you in a daze for? Go and buy it. Qingye pushed Yihua, letting Yihua take the initiative to ask. Chapter 91. Yihua's breathing became a bit hurried. Are these small fries even qualified to talk to me? However, I have to assimilate into the human race, assimilate. If I am unable to control my emotions later on, Qingye will have to take the blame. Come over. Yihua shouted out gravely. The big sister was given a fright as she walked towards Yihua while trembling with fear, and her face was a bit pale. Qingye held onto her forehead. Can you be a bit more gentle? What are you being so fierce for? Fight. Shut up. Yihua said petulantly. Qingye snorted coldly, then walked to the side and ignored Yihua. Yihua rubbed his temples. Sooner or later, I will explode from anger because of Qingye. Qingye, come over. Qingye, who was pretending to choose clothes, snorted, but she still walked over. I'm sorry, my husband is sick. He has a language barrier. Just a moment ago, you even roared at me. See if I don't teach you a lesson. Don't think that you can bully me just because you are a cultivator. Oh, so it's like that. The big sister was relieved. She was scared to death. Right now, Yihua's mood was just like Jian Yun's mood yesterday, constipated. Beauty, does this set of clothes come with a couple's outfit? Qingye asked curiously. The waiter smiled and said, Miss, of course. Qingye poked the angry Yihua. What are you doing? Bargaining. Qingye shook her head. This husband of mine is just like a child, he doesn't know anything. Yihua's brows wrinkled deeply. Have I ever seen a supreme overlord haggling over the price when buying something? This wasn't bargaining, this was lowering the price. If word of this got out, where would his face go? We need to interact more with each other. Qingye said in a low voice. Yihua took a deep breath, then asked, how much? The lady was still very shy. She looked at the price and said, 489 yuan. Hearing that humans like to bargain with the lowest price, Yihua had an answer in his heart and said gravely, too expensive, 1 RMB. The big sister was instantly stupefied, and even Qingye was stupefied. This fellow isn't messing with me, right? However, looking at that incomparably serious face of his, he doesn't seem to be joking with me. Sir, although you are handsome, you can't bargain like this. The young lady wanted to cry. Even a handsome guy couldn't bully people like this. Qingye was hating iron for not becoming steel. How can it be returned like this? Let me do it, you learn more from me. Qingye let out a sigh. To think that I, the madam, would still have to do it. Seems like Yihua has cultivated himself to the point that he became stupid. Qingye picked up her clothes and touched it, then frowned and said faintly, 489 is too expensive, how about this, 488? What an auspicious number. This time, it was Yihua's turn to be a little stupefied. This is called bargaining. It seemed that this woman was even more ignorant than he was. She was still pretending to know. Even the waiter was laughing. The young lady felt that they were very strange. One was silly while the other was cute. They were a perfect match. Of course. Qingye raised her chin proudly and said towards Yihua, did you see that? This is called bargaining. It is truly a miracle that your company didn't go bankrupt. Yihua shook his head helplessly. What do you know? You can't mix the two together, okay? Hurry up and bargain like me. I can't do it. As expected, Yihua refused. How can you be like this? Didn't you say you wanted to have a good conversation? Yihua said faintly, I have already had enough exchanges with you. Qingye went into a daze, then pulled onto Yihua's sleeves. Where did you learn those sweet words from? They are quite alluring. Yihua took a look. Communicating with you is already troublesome enough, I don't want to add more troubles. Qingye knew that it would be like this fellow just doesn't know how to say some sweet words. Quickly go and change your clothes, it is so dark all day, can't you be a bit more sunny? Qingye shoved the clothes into Yihua's hands. If I didn't appear, you can just be a single dog for your entire life, who would be able to endure your temper? Yihua did not refuse and walked into the changing room with the clothes. Qingye also chose a set of clothes and walked into the changing room to change. When the two walked out of the changing room, no matter if it was the staff of the store or the people who came to buy clothes, all of them were shocked. Yihua, who had changed into the sportswear, indeed looked a lot more sunny, less calm and more gentleness. Qingye was the same too, it was as if she had become the big sister next door. Simply too childish. This was the portrayal of Yihua's inner heart. Tisk, tsk, look how handsome he is. The only thing that Qingye felt fortunate about was that her husband was still pleasing to the eye, to the point that she wouldn't get tired of looking at him. It could be said to be a great fortune within misfortune. Yihua was very unnatural as he urged, quickly go. Go and pay the bill, I didn't bring any money with me. Why didn't you even bring any money? Yihua was speechless, she definitely did it on purpose. You are my husband, when we are outside, I definitely need you to count the money. Of course, you are a cultivator, you can completely force me to do things. Yihua simply didn't have the slightest bit of temper. The biggest mistake in this lifetime was yesterday night. I originally wanted to use my identity to shock Qingye, but in the end, it had the opposite effect. Seeing that Yihua obediently went to count the money, Qingye was still very happy. She went up and held on to the man who was throwing a small tantrum. Men, after all, have to be coaxed, if not why would they be obedient? Although I am an ordinary person, and my husband is a cultivator, but so what? Yihua is still obedient. I will take care of you when we return home tonight. Yihua said gravely. If I don't beat you up for a day, you will start to climb up the beam and tear down the tiles. Qingye could be seen touching her abdomen. Baby, Daddy is going to hit Mommy, what do you think I should do? My God, Yihua is not only regretting yesterday night, he is also regretting that night. This woman is simply like a curse to me. The two returned to the pedestrian street. Qingye looked at Yihua, who was sullen, and felt that it was very funny. She asked lightly, Yihua, last night, you secretly kissed me, here it comes again. I already have 3 of my weaknesses in her hands, I simply want to die. If you are not happy, you can kiss me back. Yihua said gravely. I, the Supreme Overlord, would also have such a day, I really didn't expect that. Qingye tiptoed and said sweetly, as long as you admit that you are a swindler, I can let you do whatever you want, just like that night, immediately. The anger within Yihua's body rose rapidly, causing Yihua to turn pale with fright. I am actually being controlled by this woman, how is this possible? The words that I, Yihua, have said before are of enormous weight. Alright, let's see how long you can keep your words to yourself for. Qingye's breath was like an orchid, she had Yihua firmly in her grasp. Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was speechless again, Qingye said sweetly, how about we go and take a risk? What do you mean? Let's just sit on a random car and go wherever we go, how about it? In actuality, Qingye had a small wish, and that was to go on a trip without any purpose. Boring. Let's go, Qingye, when did you learn Yutong's moves? Yihua wrinkled his brows. Qingye's expression immediately changed as she shouted out coldly, are you going or not? Actually, it is also good to learn from Yutong. Chapter 92. After getting on the bus, Qingye quickly fell asleep while leaning on Yihua's shoulder. It was only at this time that Yihua felt that Qingye was very obedient, and when she woke up, she became like a little demon. After half an hour of driving, the two got off the bus and changed into the minibus. Who knows where this minibus is heading to? Teacher, stop for a moment. Looking at the scenery outside, Qingye couldn't help but shout out. After getting off the car, Qingye stretched her body and said comfortably, the air here is fresh. Yihua lit up a cigarette, expressing that he was very bored. A truck carrying pigs passed by, and the truck carried a strange smell. Qingye's comfortable face immediately turned black, and even Yihua's face was the same. This is the good place that you chose, Yihua said petulantly. Qingye was a little embarrassed. How would I know? Can't you treat me a bit more gently? Hold my hand and close your eyes. What? You want to steal a kiss from me again? Qingye's heart was beating faster. Who wants to kiss you? I am just changing places. Yihua let out a light sigh. I really don't know what she is thinking about all day long. Tisk, let's see what kind of flower you can conjure up. Qingye snorted coldly and pulled onto Yihua's hand. 1 seconds later, Yihua said, we're here. Qingye slightly opened her eyes. Just a moment ago, everything in front of her eyes had changed. What she could see was a green lake, and all around her were towering trees. This was the real utopia. Yihua, have we transmigrated? Yihua poked onto Qingye's forehead. Just what is going on in that little head of yours? Qingye stuck out her tongue, then ran to the lakeside and opened up her arms. Yihua followed behind her unhurriedly with a cigarette in his mouth. With a wave of his hand, 2 chairs and a small table immediately appeared. On the table was a dragon blood wine, as well as the meat of star-cleansing sparrow and golden delicate crane. Don't just stand there. Come and sit down. When Qingye turned her head around to take a look, she was first startled by the things that suddenly appeared, and soon after, she muttered, having a cultivator as a husband sure is good, he can even bring so many things with him. Another cultivator, Yihua really wants to throw Qingye into the lake to calm down. Lying on the chair, Qingye took a sip of the dragon blood wine and said, we will be able to save a lot of money on transportation fees in the future. Yihua didn't want to talk anymore. Yihua, are you able to transmigrate to another world? Qingye asked curiously. It's simple. Upon hearing that it was okay, Qingye became interested. When are you going to bring him over to play with me? Let's talk about it after you give birth. That's true. Speaking of children, Qingye rubbed onto her flat stomach and asked curiously, Yihua, will our children be like Superman when they are born? Qingye, don't compare children with those inferior races. Yihua said in displeasure. Qingye muttered, I'm just asking, why are you getting angry again? After eating a small mouthful of the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, Qingye seemed to have thought of something, and her mood instantly became gloomy. Yihua. How long can you two live? Qingye asked gravely. Yihua finally knew what Qingye was thinking about. This woman is actually worried about this. Thus, I decided to tease her a little. A very, very long time. Yihua said leisurely. Then when I get old, will you still be so young? Qingye's eyes turned red. When I think about how old I am, and how Yihua is still the same as before, I even have the heart to die. This silly woman, she is eating the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, and she is still worried about her appearance. Yihua said faintly, if nothing unexpected happens, it will be like this. This time, Qingye was really sad, and tears of helplessness fell out from her eyes. If only Yihua was an ordinary person. Yihua didn't expect that Qingye's reaction would be so big. He was startled for a moment, then said slowly, of course, I also have a way. Ah, what way? Teach me. Hearing that there was a way, Qingye was like a person who was drowning, tightly grabbing onto that life-saving straw. For people like us, every part of our body is where the essence lies, so, Qingye went into a daze for a moment, then immediately jumped onto Yihua's body and punched onto his chest. Yi Hua. I didn't expect you to be so shameless and perverted. Yi Hua lightly hooked onto Qingya's chin and said with a light smile, such a beautiful face, how can I bear to let you grow old? You are teasing me again, Yi Hua, I hate you, what a silly woman. Yi Hua laughed out loud, then hugged onto Qingya's soft and delicate body. Hugging onto my body feels very comfortable. Ripples appeared on the surface of the clear lake, and a light breeze blew onto Qingya's soft and beautiful hair. Yi Hua caressed onto Qingya's beautiful hair, if only you didn't talk back to me. Qingya closed her eyes and said, if only you didn't act cool all the time. Yi Hua couldn't help but smack onto Qingya's butt, the one who acts cool all the time is you, right? Qingya opened her beautiful eyes and shouted out, you only know how to smack my butt. Your butt sure is bouncy, it feels good. Yi Hua. Right now, other than acting cool, you have also become a hooligan. Yi Hua hugged onto Qingya tightly, what's wrong with me acting like a hooligan towards my own wife? Qingya felt that this couldn't go on, so she said to Yi Hua, I want to learn martial arts. Oh. Why do you suddenly want to? Because I want to defeat you. And then bully you. Qingya turned around and rode onto Yi Hua's body, her posture was too explosive. Yi Hua laughed lightly, your way of thinking is perfect, but you won't be able to succeed. In this lifetime, I am definitely going to bully you. Humph, if you don't teach me, who would know? Perhaps, you know that my talent is extremely good, and you are afraid that I will surpass you. Qingya expressed that she was not convinced. Failure isn't scary, what is scary is that you still believe in this sentence. Qingya pouted, how do you know that I will fail? From the moment you said that you want to surpass me, you were destined to fail. Humph, you are just stingy, Yi Hua. Yi Hua sighed, then held on to Qingya's small hand, pointed towards the infinity ring and said, with this ring, you are already invincible. Qingya was confused. Other than looking good, this ring doesn't seem to have any other use. In the future, you will know, my woman, why must you cultivate so bitterly? It is just like playing a game, we are all pay-to-win players, and we will forever be ahead of normal players. From level 1 to level 100, it is just a ding. Qingya touched onto Yi Hua's forehead, your illness is acting up again. Yi Hua raised his hand and was about to smack onto Qingya's forehead, scaring Qingya to the point that she jumped up and immediately ran away. See if I don't smack you today. Humph, you have to catch me first. Qingya still had the innocence of a child and made a funny face. If Qing Yutong were to see this, she would definitely rub her eyes. Is big sister infected by me? You run slower. Don't slip and fall. Yi Hua warned gravely. You are still so crazy even though you are pregnant. Chapter 93. Suddenly, a cry for help came from the forest. A man covered in blood rushed out. His panicked face made it seem as if there was a great flood or fierce beast behind him. Save me, the man ran towards Qingya who was in a daze. Unexpectedly, his legs became crooked and he tripped over himself. He slid for a full 3 meters before finally stopping in front of Qingya's feet. His chin was almost bruised. Yi Hua snorted coldly. How can my woman be touched by someone like you? Yi Hua, quickly come and save them. Qingya finally came back to her senses and shouted out loudly. Yi Hua walked over unhurriedly and sized up the man. He discovered that the man did indeed have injuries, but the injuries were not as serious as what he had shown. Furthermore, the fainting that the man was showing right now was just an act. Qing Yuan felt that he was really unlucky today. He heard that this mountain range was extraordinary, so he specially came over to check it out. In the end, he bumped into a disciple of the Clouds sect. Luckily, he escaped quickly, but he also discovered an unknown secret. If this news were to be leaked out, the entire cultivation world would be shaken. The Clouds sect actually secretly dug up a dragon vein. However, He was injured. If he continued like this, he would definitely be caught. Coincidentally, he saw a couple camping by the lake. After observing them for a while, he felt that they were both good people. After all, they were so in love with each other. The beautiful woman was running around like a child, shouting for him to come and catch her. She was really cute and kind. The man doted on the woman very much, so he was probably a kind-hearted person. When he saw someone like him in trouble, he would definitely help. Look at this beauty is anxiously shouting to save me, I am so happy, hurry up and drive me away. What happened? Yihua walked over and asked lightly. I don't know, he just ran out from the forest, quickly save him. Qingye pulled onto Yihua's hand and shouted out anxiously. Yihua appeared very serious and said, Qingye, don't worry, it's nothing big. Qing Yuan, who was lying on the ground, cursed under his breath. What kind of look was that? He was covered in blood, yet he said that he was fine. Only a fool would believe him. Then, I can rest assured. Qingye patted on her chest and let out a sigh of relief. Qing Yuan froze. How could you believe such words? Don't believe a man's mouth, believe your own eyes. Qingye naturally believed in Yihua. After all, Yihua was a cultivator. Then, why isn't he waking up? Qingye walked over to Qing Yuan's side and asked curiously. He might have fainted from the fall. Just get some water to wake him up. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Qingye slapped onto her forehead, I am truly becoming more and more stupid. Qing Yuan felt that he should wake up. There were wounds on his body, and he couldn't touch water. Just as Qing Yuan was thinking, a comfortable feeling spread across his face, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Yihua, it's moving. It moved. But why hasn't she woken up yet? Not enough water. Oh. Qing Yuan was shocked. He couldn't do this, he was about to wake up. Cough, cough, cough. Qing Yuan coughed violently. Perhaps he wanted to make it look more realistic, so he used a little more force. Who knew that he would cough out blood? He couldn't stop coughing. Qingye was frightened by the bloody scene in front of her. Yihua, is he going to die? He's fine. He's just coughing out blood. He'll be fine soon. Qing Yuan's heart crumbled. Who the F***ck would cough up blood like this? How could these two people not know this common sense? 1 minute later. Yihua, why hasn't he stopped? Seems like he has a lot of blood. Qingye, lay him down. Yihua said faintly. Without waiting for Qingye to act, Qing Yuan had already laid down himself. Could it be that Yihua is going to give me artificial respiration? Such a beautiful woman, I'm so happy. What do we do next? Qingye asked curiously. Yihua pointed at Qing Yuan's chest, this person's blood is all accumulated in his chest, if we don't take care of it in time, he might suffocate to death. Ah, so serious. Qingye was shocked. Qingye, use your foot and step on his chest. Use a bit of strength, and he will be able to vomit out all of the extravasated blood. Yihua said very earnestly, and Qingye had never seen Yihua being so earnest before. Qingye wrinkled her brows, will it really work? Qingye, look at how much pain he is in, hurry up. Qing Yuan couldn't care so much anymore, these two are simply inhumane, I am already coughing out blood, and they still want to step on my chest, do they even have a bit of medical common sense? This beauty actually believed in my words. Cough. No. Cough. Cough, cough. Qing Yuan wanted to leave, he didn't want to be stepped on by Qingye. Qingye took a deep breath, Mister, don't be anxious, my husband will cure you. Cure your sister? How is he going to cure me? He is going to take my life, you are going to be his accomplice. Bear with it a bit. Qingye closed her eyes and raised her foot. Cough, 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 cough. Qing Yuan went crazy, even if you want to step on my chest, you should at least open your eyes. Who would step on my chest with their eyes closed? Sure enough, Qingye did as Yihua said and heavily stepped on Qing Yuan's chest. As expected, the coughing stopped, and Qingye let out a breath. Yihua's method is really useful. Yihua couldn't help but shiver. The place where Qingye's foot landed was too dangerous, not to mention coughing. Even if it was a heavy injury, one would still faint. Opening her beautiful eyes, Qingye looked at the place where her foot landed and took in a breath of cold air, then immediately looked towards Yihua. Yihua. I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to save him. Yihua shook his head. Quickly go and get some water to splash him to wake him up. Qingye, who was embarrassed, immediately took some water and splashed it on him again. When he wakes up, I will definitely apologize to him. I really didn't do it on purpose. Qing Yuan really fainted. Originally, I was still fine. I just wanted them to save me and drive away from here. In the end, I am really not far away from death. After Qingye's unremitting efforts, Qing Yuan suddenly woke up and took a deep breath. Coincidentally, Qingye splashed water on him. I'm finished, I choked. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Qingye was about to cry from anxiousness. Why did I vomit blood again? Qing Yuan opened his eyes, as if he was saying, don't torture me anymore, let me go, we can pretend that we never saw each other. Just that, in Qingye's eyes, this kind of expression completely became a signal for help. Don't worry, this time, I guarantee that I will step on the right place. Yihua slowly turned around. This is too cruel. Cough, 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 woo-woo. Qing Yuan was in despair. He wanted to struggle to get up and leave, but he was held down by Qingye. You can't leave now, you will die. F***K, if I don't leave now, I will die later on, you murderer. Qingye immediately raised her leg, and this time, she did not close her eyes. Aiming at the position, she kicked down. Pfft. A stream of blood sprayed out from Qing Yuan's mouth, and his entire body went limp, and his expression was no longer that painful. Qingye, you saved his life. Yihua said with his hands behind his back. Qingye let out a breath. What should we do next? Chapter 94. At this moment, two men in green robes ran out of the forest and saw Qing Yuan lying on the ground. Qing Yuan, on the other hand, seemed to have seen a life-saving straw, and with strength that came from who knows where, Qing Yuan crawled forward with all his might. Save me, quickly bring me away. The two disciples of the Cloud sect were dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, this fellow was running with his life on the line. How did he become so withered in just a few minutes? It was as if he had masturbated dozens of tubes. Qingye said apologetically, just now, I was saving him, and accidentally stepped on the wrong spot. This was the first time that Cloud Sect's disciples heard that one has to step on someone to save someone, and they were a bit stupefied. But no matter what, they had found them. One of the men cupped his hands and said, thank you both. Farewell. Qingye also cupped her hands. About that, take care. Qing Yuan shed tears of remorse. He no longer believed in TikTok. Who said that a good-looking person would have a beautiful heart? If God gave him another chance, he would definitely not ask them for help, even if he had to die. Yihua, I really didn't do it on purpose. Qingye apologized. Yihua took out a tissue and wiped off the sweat on Qingye's forehead. Alright, didn't you save her? But don't worry, this is a medical accident, it wasn't done on purpose. After hearing Yihua's explanation, Qingye felt relieved. That's right, this is only a medical accident. In actuality, this kind of treatment was indeed effective, and it wasn't because of Yihua's ill will. Yihua just wanted to punish this man. To actually dare to lie to me, it is already good enough that I didn't kill this man. Cloud Sect's disciples were currently carrying Qing Yuan back to the sect, and one of the disciples cried out in surprise, senior brother, he is bleeding, isn't bleeding normal? But the location of the bleeding is not normal. Qing Yuan no longer felt anything. When he lowered his head to take a look, he immediately fainted. That woman is so terrifying. At the lakeside, Qingye seemed to have walked out from the shadows and was eating the star-cleansing sparrow meat that other people yearn for even in their dreams. Yehua, is this really dragon meat? It will be fine if you just eat it, it is good for your skin. Yihua lit up a cigarette and looked at the sky, which was gradually becoming dark. Yihua, why do you treat me well sometimes? Qingye asked curiously. Yihua turned his head around and took a look at Qingye, as if he was saying, you idiot, how did you even think of such a question? If I don't treat you well, who should I treat well? No matter what, I am still the child's mother. Suddenly, Qingye felt that other than being beautiful and rich, she didn't have anything else. Sigh, this is so depressing. Looking at Yihua's high and mighty appearance, Qingye was in a bad mood and decided to just ignore Yihua and rest on the chair. What Yihua was currently thinking about was another matter. Tomorrow is the last day of the 3 days deadline. If Yihua doesn't return the money, then according to the previous rules, Yihua will have to pay back his life. To even dare to owe me money and not return it, Yihua's guts are not ordinary. No. Today was different from the past. Exterminating an entire sect was too vicious. Change it. This matter will be handed over to Wei Chang or Lai Gu to handle tomorrow. I still have to teach Qingye a lesson. Look at her sleeping posture, my God, she is drooling again. Yihua. I want to spank your butt. In the dream, Qingye shouted loudly. Yihua shook his head, then carried Qingye and disappeared from the spot in an instant. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the bedroom. After placing Qingye onto the bed, Yihua covered her with a blanket. Coming to the office, Yihua said gravely, Wei Chang, Lai Gu, come over. In an instant, Wei Chang and Lai Gu put down the things that they were doing and appeared in front of Yihua, then respectfully called out, Your Honor. Looking at Lai Gu, Yihua asked, Has your body adapted to it? Lai Gu said happily, It is all thanks to your honor that subordinate was able to create a body for subordinate was able to experience the joy of being a human. Actually, I still prefer you to transform into a dog. Yihua lit up a cigarette and said. Lai Gu expressed that he was very embarrassed, while the corner of Wei Chang's mouth arced up. Wei Chang. Subordinate is here. What is the meaning between you and that waiter? Yihua asked. Wei Chang didn't dare to be careless and said gravely, Your Honor, subordinate is currently experiencing the feelings of humans. Feelings. This caused Yihua to be a little puzzled. What did you gain? Yihua asked. Wei Chang bowed his body and said, After spending these few days together, subordinate discovered that the feelings of humans are very strange. Yihua became interested and asked, How strange? When Xiao Tang is not around, subordinate will feel a bit uneasy, but when subordinate is together with Xiao Tang, subordinate will be able to calm down, that's about it. Wei Chang was also very vexed, he thought that he was poisoned. Yihua wrinkled his brows, Why is this symptom a bit similar to mine? Lai Gu, tell me about your feelings. Yihua asked. Lai Gu paused for a moment, and after thinking for a while, he finally said, They are very awesome, Yihua, Wei Chang, if I were to ask you to go and kill that waiter right now, what would you do? Yihua's aura suddenly changed, and sharp killing intent emerged out from his body. A trace of hesitation appeared in Wei Chang's gaze, but very quickly, he changed his mind and knelt down on one knee, Subordinate will solemnly obey your honor's command. Yihua waved his hand, All right, don't make it so serious. Wei Chang, it is fine for you to get a girlfriend and experience human nature, but your real identity has to be hidden. If your little girlfriend finds out, you should know how to deal with it. Subordinate understands. Wei Chang lowered his head and replied. Lai Gu, you are the same. Subordinate obeys your command. Yihua lit up another cigarette and asked, Do you smoke? Wei Chang said, subordinate doesn't smoke. Lai Gu, smoking is bad for the lungs. Wei Chang looked towards Lai Gu confusedly. You still have lungs? Is there any news about the other 5 sins? Yi Hua took a puff of the cigarette and exhaled out the smoke. Lai Gu changed his frivolous expression and said solemnly, not at the moment. Your Honor, it has already been 5 years. The other 5 sins have not been found yet. I am afraid that something unexpected has happened. Wei Chang's tone was filled with killing intent. Towards traitors, there was no need to give any face, even if the traitor was a former comrade. Yi Hua let out a breath. Each of you 7 sins have your own unique points. If they were to join hands, the 2 of you would not be their match, but you are still able to fight them one-on-one. Wei Chang and Lai Gu remained silent. The other 5 sins were powerful. Not only were they powerful, their personalities were also twisted. How could Yi Hua and his 2 subordinates not have twisted personalities as well? It was just that after learning for 5 years, their personalities became slightly better. However, who knows what the other 5 sins are doing, perhaps they are still maintaining their original character. Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette butt, and a trace of red light flashed past his pitch-black pupils. My 7 subordinates are just like my 7 children. If the other 5 sins were to really betray me, should I kill them or not? Furthermore, the strength of the other 5 sins is not to be underestimated. Let's put this problem aside first. We will deal with it in the future. Let's deal with that Shao family that owes money and doesn't return it first. Yi Hua sat on the boss's chair and said calmly. Chapter 95. Lai Gu let out a sigh of relief. This kind of small matter is what Wei Chang likes to do the most. It is still more comfortable for me to lie on the bed. Lai Gu, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Yi Hua asked. The latter paused and swallowed his saliva. His Honor is here to test me again. I cannot be careless. Your Honor, just a mere human dares to not pay back the money he owes. Of course, he has to pay back the money with his life. Kill them all. Lai Gu was still the same as before, killing all the people he meets. Wei Chang, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Wei Chang pursed his dry lips. According to the usual routine, I will definitely kill all the people I meet. I can give up the money, but I cannot lose my face. However, His Honor will definitely not follow the usual routine, just like that Long Out Yen. Your Honor, those who owe money and don't pay back are the most evil. I suggest that we kill the person closest to them. Yi Hua was somewhat attracted by Wei Chang's suggestion. This is a bit interesting, tell me about it. Subordinate thinks that what humans fear the most is losing their loved ones. In the past, when we were fighting all over the world, we also saw it, but we didn't understand it. However, after 5 years of understanding, other than money, what humans care about is their family. Lai Gu took a look at Wei Chang. Where did this gluttonous freak find this fallacious reasoning from? Lai Gu, look at Wei Chang. When can you be as sensible as Wei Chang? Yi Hua was gratified. I finally made Wei Chang's IQ online. Subordinate is incompetent. I will definitely properly learn about human nature in the future. Lai Gu thought in his heart, learning about human nature on the bed. Yi Hua continued to ask, Wei Chang, who do you think Shao Yi cares about the most? Here comes another problem. Wei Chang thought to himself, if it's me, other than His Honor, it would be Shao Tang. That's right. It's a woman. Subordinate thinks that the person Shao Yi cares about the most is definitely his woman. Yi Hua felt that what Wei Chang said was reasonable. Nothing in life is more important than losing one's true love. Yi Hua went into a daze. What am I thinking about? True love? Wei Chang, you handle this matter as you see fit. Take the money, kill the person too. I will obey your Honor's command. Let's do it tomorrow night at 12 o'clock. If he returns the money, then forget it. Yi Hua added. Wei Chang and Lai Gu went into a daze, then knelt on the ground and shouted, Congratulations, Your Honor. What joy! These 2 fellows had learned the human's flattery skills the most. Lai Gu sighed with emotion. His honor is clearly able to use his martial power, yet, he just had to use his brain. As a subordinate, I am truly unable to catch up to him. What Lai Gu said is right. If it was in the past, his honor would have long since ordered us to kill him. But today, his honor actually said to spare his life. From this, it can be seen that his honor's control over human nature has already reached the pinnacle. Subordinate is blushing with shame. Wei Chang was so excited that he even sprayed out his saliva, and that expression on his face didn't seem to be bootlicking. Lai Gu, who was at the side, was stupefied. This gluttonous monster's performance is pretty good. You all. Yi Hua laughed helplessly. Compared to the past, the current atmosphere was much warmer. Dong dong dong, Yi Hua, are you inside? Qing Ye's voice rang out. You guys go ahead. Wei Chang and Lai Gu bowed and left, then disappeared from the office. Just at this moment, Qing Ye pushed open the door and walked in. When did we come back? Not too long ago. Yi Hua opened the window and let the smoke disperse a bit. Although it was just a small action, Qing Ye's heart still felt warm. Yi Hua, let's go out to eat, watch a movie, and take a walk. All right. Yi Hua let out a breath. The human emotions that Wei Chang spoke of, are they really that mysterious? Could it be that I, the Supreme Overlord, already care about this woman? This is truly inconceivable. Emotions are the most mysterious thing in the human mind. Even a strong person like Yi Hua is about to fall into such a state. It is truly not easy. However, this kind of emotion was still continuously warming up. This was something that the two people didn't expect. Yi Hua admired Qing Ye's courage to be angry and speak out, and Qing Ye liked Yi Hua's concern. Although Qing Ye has a bad temper sometimes, overall, Qing Ye is still considered to be good. The morning sunlight was always so gentle. Without his sister-in-law at home, there seemed to be a bit less joy, but at the same time, it was also a lot quieter. Wake up, Ing monster. Ing. To be honest, Yi Hua rather liked Qing Ye, who was acting coquettishly. Caressing onto Qing Ye's smooth long hair, Yi Hua thought to himself, these days are pretty good, it is a bit better than the lonely days I had in the past. Seeing that Qing Ye was lazing around on the bed and not getting up, Yi Hua could only take forceful measures and directly carried Qing Ye to the washroom. Qing Ye naturally didn't want to comply, and the sound of quarreling immediately rang out. Qing Ye, who lost the quarrel, pouted and went out to buy breakfast, while Yi Hua went to his sister-in-law's bedroom, turned on the computer, and prepared to play games. I still have to practice my skills, no matter what. I have to bring my wife and sister-in-law to eat chicken, and not listen to the two of them complain. And after Qing Ye came back, she saw that Yi Hua was secretly playing games, so of course, she had to join in. In the end, the two of them had to play as a pair, and both of their lunch and dinner were takeaway. Yi Hua had led my wife astray. Yi Hua, play one more round, I want to eat chicken. Qing Ye pulled onto Yi Hua's sleeve and begged pitifully. Yi Hua pointed towards the clock. Look at what time it is already 11:30 a.m., don't you want to sleep anymore? Please, play one more round. You have been saying that you will play one more round since 10 a.m., you are already a person who is going to be a mother. Really, this is definitely the last round. After playing, let's go to sleep. Qing Ye opened her big watery eyes and even learned from her little sister to act cute, simply refreshing Yi Hua's understanding of her. This was also under the situation where Qing Yutong was not present. If she was present, Qing Ye would definitely have the appearance of a big sister. This way, she would appear to have a deterrent force, and in the end, Qing Ye was slowly accepting Yi Hua. Yi Hua let out a breath. One more round. Thank you, hubby, moi. Kiss my face full of saliva. TSK, this beauty here kissed you and you still dislike it. You can play by yourself. Don't, hubby, I know my mistake, only a capable man can bring his wife to eat chicken, and Yi Hua actually forgot about the proper business. Luckily, Wei Chang still remembered. Wei Chang, who was currently on the first floor, looked at the clock. It is almost midnight, I still have to collect what I should collect. Walking to the toilet, he closed the door and called out, Death Mage. Within a villa in Long-an City, Death Mage was currently drinking beer and watching the match between Germany and South Korea. Isn't it obvious that Germany is going to win? Death Mage decided to gamble one more time, betting on Germany to win. Just when the match had just started, he received a summon from his master. This was the hardest time to make a decision in one's life. Death Mage chose his master, but where did his scythe go? Finally, Death Mage found his scythe at a corner of the kitchen. Dust had already gathered on it. I have to wipe it, I can't let my master find out that I am slacking off. According to my master's orders, I am currently guarding that Long Out Yin. Chapter 96. Master. Death Mage respectfully lied on the ground and shouted out, hoping that his master would quickly give the order, I still have to go back and watch the match. Wei Chang wrinkled his brows, however, he did not ask too much about it. There is a Shao family in Zijin City, and the family head, Shao Yi, owes his honor 50 billion. Go and get the money back. Other than that, kill his most important woman. Do as you see fit. A mere trash dares to owe his honor money, and even caused master to be so vexed. How can killing a single person be enough to appease his honor's anger? I would like to be so bold as to request to kill his entire family. The corner of Wei Chang's mouth twitched. Wasn't this line used by him in the past? It seemed like he really wasn't as bloody as he was in the past. How can you change his honor's orders as you wish? Wei Chang shouted out lightly. What an unruly fellow. This subordinate deserves to die. As soon as it's midnight, you can make your move. Death Mage did not dare to ask too much about it. Why did they have to wait until midnight before taking action? This is truly strange. The opponent's strength is not bad. Wei Chang warned before opening the door. Master, don't worry, subordinate will definitely get back his honors 50 billion and a life. Go. Yes. When Wei Chang walked out of the toilet, he just happened to see Tang Wei walking over. Uncle Wei, Tang Wei called out sweetly as a blush appeared on her cheeks. Xiao Tang, when we close the door, Uncle Wei will treat you to supper. Wei Chang said with a smile. Yi Hua thought that Wei Chang would personally take action, but who knew that Wei Chang had a date at night, and thus called his subordinate over. In actuality, his subordinate was still going to watch the football match at night. If it wasn't for Wei Chang saying that the opponent wasn't weak, Death Mage would definitely have sent his subordinate over. The Zijin City's Shao family was located in the northern suburbs. This was a manor that occupied an extremely large area. To be precise, it was not a manor, but a mansion. Just like the residence of the prince in the past, it was all Chinese-style buildings, with small bridges and flowing water. The environment was elegant, and it was the enjoyment of an emperor. In the east courtyard of the Shao family, Shao Yi was lying on a big bed with two beautiful wives beside him. One of them was Nangong Sini and the other was Yuqi. She was the most beautiful girl in the school, but she was taken away by Shao Yi. But that was 10 years ago. Although it had been 10 years, Shao Yi's wives were still the same as before, showing no signs of aging. This was all thanks to Shao Yi himself. Big brother Shao, you're finally willing to accompany me today. Yuqi stretched out her index finger and drew circles on Shao Yi's firm chest. Nangong Sini laughed softly. Brother Shao, little sister Yu is hungry and thirsty. You have to feed her until she's full tonight, Sister Sini. Why do you have to tease me every time? Nangong Sini lifted Yuqi's chin and said, because I like you. I hate you, Shao Yi chuckled. He was also watching the match, but his thoughts were restless. He felt that something big was going to happen tonight, and it had been a long time since he had such a feeling. Brother Shao, what's wrong? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Why don't I ask Sister Shu Nan to take a look at you? Shao Yi shook his head. There's no need. Besides, I was the one who taught Shu Nan his medical skills. I know my body well. Brother Xiao, why don't you rest early? You still have to take to sign up for the children's soccer team tomorrow. The little guy is very excited today. Sister Cindy coaxed him for a long time before he fell asleep, Yuqi said softly. She then rubbed her belly and smiled happily. Oh. Is Yun that excited? Xiao Yi laughed. Although he had many wives, it was very difficult for them to get pregnant. Until now, he had only given birth to one son, Xiao Yun. Of course, Yuqi was also pregnant. It was already 3 months, and it was a girl. She couldn't bear it for 3 months, and tonight, she had to do something. Nangong Sini said with a smile, isn't that so? Recently, the little guy has been saying that he wants to enter the national team and play in the World Cup to win glory for our country. Not bad. He already knows how to win glory at such a young age. Xiao Yi was very happy and looked forward to the arrival of his daughter. After a pause, Xiao Yi said, Sini, I will start my seclusion tomorrow. I have a feeling that something big is going to happen. Okay, don't worry and go into seclusion. I will look after the company, Nangong Sini said. Sister Sini, I also want to go to the company to help you, Yuqi said pitifully. You, just stay at home and wait for the delivery. Otherwise, someone will say that I mistreat the pregnant woman again. Nangong Sini poked her husband's arm. Hubby, let's go to sleep, it is already 11:50 p.m. Yuqi lightly bit onto her lips, expressing that she was feeling very uncomfortable. Xiao Yi laughed, let's watch for another 10 minutes. If Germany doesn't score a goal, we will go to sleep and feed you properly. Annoying, Nangong Sini laughed helplessly, today, you guys are the home team, I am here to cheer for you guys. Sini, don't even think about running away, give birth to another one for me. Xiao Yi said straightforwardly. Don't, the other sisters are going to be jealous of me to death. Ha, Xiao Yi's arrogant laughter immediately rang out in the room. This is the peak of life, hugging onto one's left and one's right, and it's still joyful and harmonious, tsk. At this moment, outside of Xiao Residence's wall, Death Mage was leaning on the wall while hugging onto his sickle of death. His 5 hand bones were holding onto his phone, and the phone was still lying horizontally. The commentator's passionate voice was currently ringing out from the phone. 100 meters away from Death Mage, there were a few scouts that were holding onto night vision goggles and looking at the situation. Quickly look at the wall, there is an idiot. Quickly let me take a look, damn it. Seriously, not only did he not sleep in the middle of the night, he actually came to Xiao Residence to cosplay, and he even dressed up as a Grim Reaper, awesome. He seems to be watching the World Cup. Did you place a bet on the match between Germany and South Korea tonight? Of course, Germany is the defending champion, I even used the money that I used to buy a house to bet that Germany will win. Me too, if Germany wins, I will become a young model at the club, if Germany loses, I will become a slave. Ha, you know me best, my brother. However, we have already waited for a few days, and we still haven't seen a single ghost. That's right. There are only damned mosquitoes. Death Mage naturally knew that there were a few groups of humans in the surroundings, but he was not interested in caring about them. Right now, what he was concerned about was the match. Germany team, quickly score a goal. There are still 8 minutes before I have to start working, if I were to lose tonight, all of them will be castrated. Motherf *Ker, this family is truly tired of living, to actually dare to even owe his honor money, causing me to not be able to watch the match in the middle of the night. It is a pity that his honor asked me to only kill one person, what kind of great luck did they have? Looking at the time on the phone, Germany team still did not score a goal. Death Mage let out a breath of relief. After I teach them a lesson, I will cheat, I swear. Next time, I will definitely not cheat. After keeping away his phone, Death Mage raised up his scythe and walked towards the front door step by step. Going through the back door. That is impossible, it is impossible in this lifetime, who is it? Of course, Xiao family had their own security measures. When Xiao family saw a person that was wearing a black robe and holding onto a scythe that was even taller than a person, and that scythe's blade was shining with a silver light under the moonlight, Xiao family's appearance had already explained everything. Chapter 97. It was just that the Xiao clan's security did not expect that there would be someone who dared to come here alone. This aura was not bad, and they did not know where that prop came from. GGG. Death Mage naturally wouldn't be able to speak, and only Wei Chang was able to understand what Death Mage was saying. Imperial translation: they're here to collect their debt. Where did this lunatic come from? Get lost. Otherwise, we'll beat you up. One of the security guards took out an electric baton and poked it in his palm. GGG. Imperial translation: if it wasn't for His Honor's request to only kill one person, the two of you would have long turned into dust on the ground. Yo, I'm giving you face but you don't want it. What the hell are you laughing at? See if I don't beat you to death. Two rays of black light shot out from Death Mage's hand, and the security guards who were still acting arrogantly just a moment ago were instantly unable to move. They were unable to even shout out, and only their eyes were filled with shock and fear. The jaws of the spy squatting outside almost dropped to the ground. Damn it! They weren't here to be funny, they were here to cause trouble. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Quick, report the situation here. Very quickly, the situation at this side fell into the ears of the various big clans. The sky above Zijin City was suddenly covered by a layer of dark clouds, and it was filled with oppression. Death Mage walked past the two of them, and with a push of his arms, the front door of the Xiao family was easily pushed open. When the security guards inside saw that the front door was pushed open by a stranger who was dressed like a Grim Reaper, without saying anything, they immediately took out their guns and opened fire. Bang, bang, bang. The gunshot was so ear-piercing in the quiet night. Xiao Yi had just turned off the lights, and Yuqi's underwear was already down to her knees. Suddenly, there was a gunshot. How many years has it been? When did so many gunshots come from the Xiao family? The two wives were also shocked. Nangong Sini immediately turned on the lights. Brother Xiao. Xiao Yi put on his pajamas and frowned. Don't come out, I'll go take a look. Be careful. The two girls warned. They were wondering who had come to the Xiao clan. How audacious of him. However, the gunshots outside became less and less. Soon, it became quiet. The two women looked at each other and relaxed. It seemed that Xiao Yi had been taken care of. Let's go out and take a look. Nangong Sini said. Yes. Yuqi put on her pajamas and followed beside Nangong Sini. When she went out, she saw 4 beautiful women walking over. It seems like they are all Xiao Yi's wives. His luck with women is really not shallow. The 6 wives slowly came to the front yard, and the strange scene made them suck in a breath of cold air. All the security guards seemed to be frozen, motionless, and their eyeballs could move, but all of them revealed a look of fear. In the middle stood a man in a black robe, holding an enormous scythe. Because he was covered by the black robe, his face could not be seen clearly. His husband was standing 10 meters away from him. There was a stone bridge between them, and the sound of flowing water was particularly dull. Xiao Yi's expression was heavy. This person's ability was probably on par with his. Where did such a person come from? Why didn't he know anything about it? Moreover, what was he doing here? What enmity did he have with him? May I ask why you have come to visit so late at night? Xiao Yi shouted in a deep voice. His aura continued to rise. Even if he lost, he didn't want to lose. He. Death Mage let out a strange sound again, and the 6 beauties couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. I'm afraid it isn't appropriate for you to tease me like this. Xiao Yi was a man with a temper. Furthermore, he was an immortal emperor in his previous life, and he was revered by thousands of people. Although he hadn't fully recovered his cultivation, he still had his dignity. Death Mage suddenly waved the scythe in his hand. Xiao Yi thought that Death Mage was going to attack him, and a green long sword condensed in his hand. This sword was called the Broken Emperor Sword, and it was personally forged by Xiao Yi. The body of the sword was green, and there were all kinds of runes on it. When activated by his cultivation, it would emit a dazzling light, and it was the act-tough King Xiao Yi's most proficient weapon. However, when he saw that Death Mage wasn't going to attack him, but was instead taking out his phone, his expression became even uglier, especially when he was so scared that he took out his weapon. Suddenly, the voice of the commentator of the World Cup rang out from Death Mage's phone. I was watching it too. Could it be that he was watching the match between Germany and South Korea? Why would such a strong person do such a weird thing? That's right, Death Mage was squatting in a corner watching the World Cup, and the face scan unlock was still on that screen. Death Mage took a glance at the screen. Damn it, it's still 0-0. I better get down to business first. Stretching out the hand bone, Death Mage was drawing on the phone's screen, not knowing what he was doing. Meanwhile, Xiao Yi was able to see that hand bone. This isn't a human. However, the 6 wives who were far away were not able to see anything clearly. When Death Mage took out the phone's screen, the words on the screen were very big, and they were even scrolling across the screen. There weren't many words, but it caused Xiao Yi to be incomparably shocked, and even the 6 wives were dumbfounded. 2 words could be seen scrolling across the phone's screen. Return the money. There were even 3 exclamation marks, indicating that Death Mage was very angry. Xiao Yi tightly held onto the Broken Emperor sword in his hand. I am here to trample on the debt. When have I ever owed someone money? What a joke. Not right. That night 3 days ago, that man. Could it be that that man told me to come here to trample on the debt? Calculating the time that Qing Yutong called me, today just happens to be the 3rd day. Just like that, it's already a match. 50 billion. What that prodigal earned was all cash, and where would I find 50 billion in cash? It is possible to gather the money, but if the capital chain is broken, the company will definitely be suppressed by others. This was also why I wanted to deny the 50 billion, if it was 5 billion, it would still be fine. Nangong Sini also thought so, but she didn't expect that the person who denied the money would come to trample on the debt, and this person even made her husband vigilant. Sisters, let's go in, don't disturb Brother Xiao. Nangong Sini said tenderly. Towards her husband, she trusted him a lot. It could be said that her husband had never been defeated before. The women had also seen such a scene before. Although they were worried, they didn't want to distract their husband. All of them returned to the backyard and waited for their husband's triumphant return. Xiao Yi's gaze was deep, and at the same time, the desire that he had been immersed in for a long time was ignited. Being unrivaled is lonely, it has been a long time since I was this excited. Right now, it is hard to find an opponent. It is either that the opponent has some misgivings, or the opponent doesn't dare to. In any case, there are all sorts of reasons. And this person in front of me, wrong. He is not a human. No matter what he came here for today. This battle must definitely be fought, and it must be won. If not, Xiao family will become a laughing stock in the entire north. This is something that is absolutely not allowed to happen. I reckon that right now, there are already a lot of eyes staring at us. Xiao Yi took a deep breath. Let's fight at another place. Death Mage waved his left hand, indicating that he didn't mind. Such a disdainful action caused Xiao Yi to sneer. You don't even know who is standing in front of you. Do you think that I, the Emperor, will be afraid of you? Chapter 98. The 2 of them instantly disappeared from the Xiao mansion. When they appeared again, they were already in the mountains several kilometers away. This place was desolate and uninhabited, and it was extremely suitable for a fierce battle. Just like what Xiao Yi had expected, all of the leaders of the powerful families in Zijin City knew about what had happened to the Xiao family. At first, he thought that it was just a joke, but he didn't expect that the other party was actually serious. At the other side of the northern suburb of Zijin City, there was a manor that was very modernized. And under the surface of this modernized manor, various kinds of mechanisms were concealed, and all of them were personally designed by Tang Wushuang. That's right. This was Tang Wushuang's home. At this moment, Tang Wushuang had also received the news from his subordinate, and he seemed to be very surprised. There is really someone who dares to provoke Xiao clan. Was that man inflated? Or ignorance? Bam! Bang! I won. Tang Wushuang let out a heavy sigh. He had married over 10 wives, and only after he married them did he realize that all of them were gambling experts. Even his gold desert eagle was used as a gambling cushion. Standing up, Tang Wushuang placed his hands behind his back and let out a long sigh. Why are all the people with the surname Tang so miserable? Could it be that I am the reincarnation of Tang Bohu? Wushuang? Quan Anrong walked over with a smile. Tang Wushuang was gratified. Finally, there was someone who was obedient. Anrong, you, Wushuang, I'm out of money. Give me a few million first. Tang Wushuang's entire body froze. Wushuang, I'm just joking. Tang Wushuang couldn't help but rub his wife's nose. Little mischievous, I'm afraid a few million is not enough. How about 10 million? Tang Wushuang requested for a close-up shot of the scene where Tang Wushuang spurted out blood. Alright, I won't joke around anymore. Did something happen on Brother Zhao's side? Quan Anrong pinched her husband's face and smiled. What a fool. Tang Wushuang smiled helplessly, there's news. If I didn't guess wrongly, they should be here to collect the debt. Wushuang, Brother Xiao is so powerful. He should be able to settle this easily. Anrong, do you mean that you don't want me to get involved in this matter? Tang Wushuang wrinkled his brows. He didn't understand the profound meaning behind Anrong's words. Quan Anrong held on to Tang Wushuang's arm and walked out of the chess room. Then they arrived at the garden outside. Firstly, Brother Zhao's strength is very powerful, and even if you were to go, you wouldn't be able to do anything. We won't do something like adding flowers to brocade, and if we are going to do something, we will have to do something like sending charcoal in snowy weather. Timely help. Tang Wushuang's brows became very deep. Brother Zhao's reputation in the circle is very big, even surpassing yours. Wushuang, although you don't say it, I can see that you still care about it. Quan Anrong looked at her husband's expression and continued, tonight, if Brother Xiao is safe and sound, we will pretend that we didn't say anything. If anything happens to Brother Xiao, Wushuang, this is your chance. But Tang Wushuang fell into a multiple-choice question, and it was very hard for him to make a decision. Wushuang, if Brother Xiao really falls tonight, you really have to prepare for a rainy day. Zijin City will undergo another big reshuffle. All the big families, hidden families, sects, the world of cultivators, the world of special abilities, and those who live under the wings of the Xiao family will have to make new choices. But I don't want to betray Brother Xiao. After all, he saved my life. Quan Anrong sighed. How could she not know? But to help her man reach the top, she would have to sacrifice a lot. Wushuang, I'm not asking you to betray Brother Xiao. You just need to be a good person. In an instant, Tang Wushuang understood what his wife meant. If Brother Xiao were to be defeated tonight, then the entire Xiao family would be without a leader, and with the identity of Xiao Yi's brother, he would be able to support the Xiao family once again. Not only that, he would be able to obtain benefits from this, and furthermore, he wouldn't lose his reputation, and other people would even praise him for being loyal. Wushuang, don't think too much. Brother Xiao is very powerful. There are countless people who want to take him down, but none of them succeeded. It's very difficult for the thing we're talking about to happen. If it happens, it'll be your chance. Of course, you don't have to choose this path. After all, it's just a suggestion. Quan Anrong kissed her husband's cheek and walked into the house, but suddenly stopped, as if she had thought of something. Wushuang, you still have a master. Xiao Yi doesn't have this. Tang Wushuang's body trembled. Master. How could he not know that this was a rare opportunity to swallow up the Xiao family? Then, the whole Tang family would be flipped upside down. At that time, the Bai family would be nothing, and there would still be those aristocratic families eyeing them covetously. But the prerequisite was that Xiao Yi had to die. The probability of that was even lower than winning the lottery. And in the western suburb of Zijin City, there was a castle. Looking at it from afar, it looked very much like the vampire castle that was shown in the movies. Furthermore, if one wanted to enter the castle, one had to pass through a drawbridge. This was the place where the Bai family lived, and the woman who lived here was Bai Cixin, who was known as the Beauty of the North. In the living room of the castle, 2 men and a woman were sitting on a sofa that was as red as blood. The woman was Bai Cixin. Just like her name, her skin was extremely white, and even the clothes she was wearing were white as well. On her head, there was a white scarf, which added a sense of mystery to her. On her delicate hands, she was wearing a pair of white gloves. And she was sitting on the main sofa, and the 2 men were sitting on both sides of her. There was no need to talk about the status of the family. Right now, she was holding onto a teacup, and with her bright red lips, she was tasting the newly grown Maojian tea. Debao, don't buy this kind of tea anymore in the future. You know that I'm used to Dahongpo tea. Bai Cixin lightly placed down the teacup. She didn't care about how much this tea was worth at all. In Bai Cixin's heart, there was only good and bad tea. Wang Debao laughed embarrassedly. Wife, recently, Dahongpo tea is in short supply. If you want to drink it, you will have to wait for a while. Look for the person who is hoarding the goods. Bai Cixin said faintly, killing intent surfaced in her tone. Wang Debao liked his wife's aloof look, because at night, he would be aloof. Wife, you have the final say. Bai Qi, who was sitting at the side, was very melancholic. He didn't care whether it was Maojian tea or Dahongpo tea, in any case, it was bitter. Big sister, how are we going to deal with Long and City? Bai Cixin said lightly, they are just some insignificant small figures. During this period of time, don't go to the south. Understood, big sister. Bai Qi paused for a moment, then asked curiously, big sister, we just gave away that 50 billion? Is that true? Bai Qi still didn't understand his own big sister. On the surface, his big sister looked gentle and pleasant, but in the dark, she was actually a female devil. This time, brother-in-law lost 50 billion, and when it was time for him to return the money, he would definitely ask big sister, and big sister actually agreed to it. In actuality, Wang Debao was also curious. He felt that his wife's intention was rather deep, but he didn't dare to ask about it. If he were to ask about it, it would make him seem like an idiot, as if he didn't even understand what was going on. It just so happened that his brother-in-law asked about it, and everything went so smoothly. Debao, what do you think? Bai Cixin suddenly asked her husband. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.